Anyone opposed?
Yeah, so tonight is just a question and answer. Question. So there's a lot of things that we're getting is around that will get done. But we'll call this here where you take it out. What we did have we invested today is the way they were set up. They would go get up to the feet, get back, and start again. So that kind of force to take care of. They have force to take care of the things that I need. So that was kind of all the work with that. That's really all of this. So our grader operators have changed up for that. The whole county. That's county fire. That's the whole county. So we are, yeah, but first you said 50. Okay, that's what we want to snap. So now we have graders, but how many people? And now we've got the other guys that are all pressure truck, the truck that goes out, the guys with shovels, the guys with backhoe. They're cleaning all the that's the other part. Yeah, we all are doing also. That's where public works, they got that part of it. It's doing something weird. Yeah. It's this video. Also, kids are. So, just make a motion that this county bylaws. The pending start of personnel, have a contract review for. The contract. I'm not saying that I said the right information that you're. I just have a question. If somebody has a resignation and it's accepted, which I believe it was, fire chief, how does he get reinstated to go to council? Now, did this happen, or was I get wrong information? Did council go over that? And was his resignation accepted?
Well, we never seen it. We'd never seen a resignation. He told us on an email that the fire chief was resigning, but he still had his 2 weeks of work that he had to finish. And next thing you know, he rescinded his resignation and he was back.
Well, I kind of grew up in the business world and it doesn't work that way. So, I think something clandestine happened there, to be honest with you. That's my personal biased opinion. So, like, I just don't know how, when something's, if it was accepted, how it's rescinded without going to council.
Well, so and then I keep getting into this. I'll tell you guys right off the bat. I even told these guys. Your Bible that you read at home, it's got a brown cover or a black cover. Ours has a white cover. It's the MGA. And if you watch it, if you read it, we get slapped on the hands for anything we say or do that's not up to par with what the government has in that book. That book tells us we are governance only.
Well,
So we have one employee,
Yeah.
and that's the one that we get to talk to.
Yeah.
We don't get to make for these decisions. He technically, they go by this George Cuff law and rule, and everybody abides by it. And it's every county that's out there keeps doing it. And it's almost like, honestly, and I'll tell you this is my 5th year. Some days I don't know why we're here.
So basically,
We don't. We get to be the middleman. We get to hear.
so
what they say.
reading between the lines, basically, the CEO of the counties control 98% of the stroke.
We get to hear from you guys. We get to set policies. We get to make sure that budgets are set right. From there on out, we have one employee, and that's what takes care of it all. You might have to turn that. It's on.
To answer that, basically we do policies according to the government, and I don't agree with it. We had numerous talks in the last couple of years when Minister MacGyver was Minister for Municipal Affairs. And basically, we set policies and honestly, when a certain person was in power, that's when they took all the power away from councillors and stuff. Some counties, they got a perfect CEO, in my opinion, and they worked together with council. You don't know the difference between the councillor and the CEO. They're always working together. They go to our day, they're together. They're with the people. You go to have a meeting. They're all working together. And here, it's not what I like. Put it that way.
And like I say, I'm not saying I was fed the right facts. It's just off shop talk, and I can't say it erroneously. I can't say it because I don't know what you guys do, and I don't know the policies, but I just my own information. You said there's rumors. Well, if that didn't happen, then throw up the rumor because it's a pretty strong rumor if it's true.
And that was, well, I figured I'd like you guys to bring up, but yeah, that was one.
So basically, the CEO did it.
Yeah.
He rescinded it and hired him back without all on his own.
Well, he just carried on.
Just carried
There
on.
was no rehire, there was nothing, it was just carried on. Like
Yeah.
as usual, right?
Yeah, well, usually when you send a letter of resignation, that's kind of carved in stone, but, I'm not saying it right or wrong, I'm just stating information. So, and another question I have is, like, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, like maybe somebody can tell me why they need 2 fire chiefs? Like, is it that busy? Is it that busy? Like, I'm not saying I'm right, I'm just fishing for information. Like why do you need 2 fire chiefs? There was a guy handed in a resignation that's gone, and there's no severance package, no nothing, it's gone. He's out the door for free. And like, do you really need to? Maybe you do. I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm looking for information.
Also, and I get, like, back when you were in the fire department, your dad was in the fire department, I was in Chipman. It was set up different. Back then we had our own fire stations. Chipman ran theirs, every Lamont went there, everybody had their own. Then they went to this regionalization, and when regionalization came around, which is, in my opinion, not one of the best decisions that was ever made. Instead of having a chief at each fire station, they decided that they would have certain main chiefs, and so they tried to restructure the way they're doing it. So they'd have a chief and a deputy, and then they would have, what's your next guy, lieutenant, or you call them, that runs that, each one of those, instead of having them all have their own chief, right? So that's what we were explained, and that's how they said the regionalization goes. I'm not a firefighter anymore, I'm just kind of.
Well, like I said, I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm looking for information,
Yeah.
because, because like I don't know, I was in a rescue here for 30 some years. And I just can't see the need for 2, that's personal opinion, but,
Yeah, I have a comment on that letter of resignation. when Stephen Hill was CEO at the time, this chief financial officer had signed a letter of resignation. And then she changed her mind. But Reeve the Duke at the time was aware that she wanted to change her mind. And we didn't accept her we didn't rescind her resignation. But with this fire chief, we were not aware that he was rescinding or changing his mind. We didn't know that.
We said the CEO had it sent it by email, and he had notifications, so it had to come from someplace.
No, we had,
Yeah, we did. Like, so he sent us, he said, okay, he's going to his new job, wish him well. He handed his resignation. Then we got an email after, he's like, no, he rescinded it, we hired him back. He's just staying where he's at.
It actually said good news.
Yeah.
That's what it
said.
It said good news. He changed his mind or whatever, he decided to stay.
Those are full-time positions. What's that position paid? Go back and ask him. Fire chief.
I think it's 118-ish around there.
Okay.
So, no, and the thing too, that I kind of almost, you think about something else is, so our deputy is from the area. He would have been next in line, so did he just get screwed out of a job? Because the guy changed his mind and got.
I think, for personal biased opinion, I think Scott would have done a great job in there by himself, but that's just one man's opinion.
Right.
A lot might not agree with me, that's my personal biased opinion. So, but it is what it is. So, like I said, I'm rumors flying around, so there you go. Okay.
Hopefully that helps. Anybody else want to come up? Peter, Mr. Lessing.
We'll pass,
I think-
we'll grab Pete and then, give him the mic and then, so we'll grab you next.
excellent point.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
DJ.
Okay, I'm gonna change the subject here.
Yeah.
I went scouring through your website and, first off, your website blows. But anyhow, in 2016, and you can only go back to 2015, but 2016, with Midland Rail, there was zero balance. They didn't know the county anything, county didn't know them anything, blah, 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 blah. In 2017, a loan in the audited financial statement showed up for $2,379,975. In 2018, it doesn't show up anywhere in the audited financial statement as a loan or anything, but it does show a payment of 200 and, it's a,
442.
yeah, okay, thank you. Which brought their balance down, which is fine, okay. So then 2019, it showed as an off-site levy. 2020, it came back to a loan. 2022, it came back to a loan. 2023, it changed from a loan to off-site levy again. And I believe that's when our ex-Reeve requested the auditor to change the wording because ratepayers were getting confused, okay, by the wording. So, having said that, then in 2024, the first entry is a balance owing of $528,885. But there's a new line underneath. Oh, and that 528,000, that's due and payable by June 30th, 2027 at 4%. But there's a line underneath there for $1,646,439, which is due and payable by June 30th, 2039. So here's my questions. We total now $2,082,000 $324 that we are carrying Midland for. Who authorized the second one, this last one in 2024? And why should we as ratepayers carry industry? Reeve the Duke very politely and clearly told me at the land use bylaw hearing that industry pays 72% of the taxes in this county. Well, how can that be when we've got one industry here that owes us almost $3 million? We're not in the business of carrying industry. If they can't pay their bills, then why are they here? We can't defer our taxes, can we? Because I mean, if we can, then I'll see you in about 2050. But this is at 4%, yet contractors with the road use agreements, their bills, if they don't pay them this month or next month, is 2% per month, 24% per year. Ratepayers, if they don't pay their taxes by the day after June 30th, bam, it's 10%. Then it's 10% again on January 1st, and 10% again by the end of June, which is 1 year. So how does this work? We get dinged 10% on taxes, but this industry gets away with 4% on almost $3 million? Who authorized this? I want to know who authorized. What is the deal here? Is somebody getting kickbacks here or what? Okay.
So the first one is actually $528,885 that is owed at 4.7% by June 30th, 2027. They're an off-site levy. The last appraisers that did it kept putting it in as a loan. It's not a loan. So an off-site levy, the way an off-site levy works is they make an investment in their industry. So we know this is Midland Rail. So Midland Rail came in to start off and got this, and what they couldn't do was pay the off-site levy. So what we did is, well, I wasn't part of that one, but what they did is they said, okay, you owe us yearly installments, you pay it yearly. So what this means is they secured them by knowing they're going to expand and do that rail line instead of just owning land and not developing anything. And they know that they've got us because we need to build the roads and the water line and whatever else to sustain their business. So now in 2024, when this one here was done, Midland Rail went to Alpenglow and they did a full expansion. That's where they bought another neighboring property out and they're building more. They're not going to go out past their place on that road because it's not designated a haul road or an industrial road. They're sticking on 201. So on 201 now, this is actually a credit. So we know that they're paying us back this money. There's no money that's involved. What it is we just said, instead of paying your full 2 million or 2 million that you owe on the credit, you space it over because we know that we don't have the money to actually do their road if they needed it done tomorrow. So they get to pay us in installments. It's like having a mortgage. They get to pay installments and we get to do the upgrade as we can progress and do it as Lamont County. And what we've also been trying to do is, what's his name, Minister Craig Smith, we're looking at grants. We've been asking for grants in the worst way. I just got back from Ottawa. I went there, it was like I was out there kissing everybody's ass looking for money to try to make sure that we stay afloat so we can get business in this area. So the offsite levy is what it is. It's not a loan. It was never a bank loan that we took out. We charge them 4.7% over and above for the loan. And then on the new one, which is up until 2023 or 39, sorry, we're at interest prime rate.
What is it?
Whatever bank is at, 6.1, I think is what it is now.
But they still owe us the money. If that's my point, Aaron, they owe us the money. money to pay the offsite levy, then why are they here?
I guess there are other counties that are willing to, finance that and offsite levies. So their original footprint was whatever the amount that, the offsite levy was. When they expanded, it goes by your footprint on the site. That's why they owed another amount. But I don't think it's unusual for industry to pay offsite levies over time. Because I think, I'm not sure when was here, they didn't pay their offsite levy, wasn't paid up front before they did anything.
I don't think you're gonna back up the rails.
No, and that's what it was. It was just to secure the fact that we know they're gonna, if they go out of business, it makes it viable for somebody else that wants to buy them to come in and actually pay for them. And they know that we're their security. We take care of their roads. We know that we're gonna be putting in new roads or bigger, better roads, or water or infrastructure to help make them want to come and be a company in our county.
Is Midland expanding east?
The easiest question is, yeah, our answer is yes.
No access from 200.
From what we've all seen is no, everything's all 201. And I think they're still going to the north a little bit yet too. We haven't seen their drawings or anything, but that was what they allotted for and brought in for a development permit.
So who? How come nobody owns these homes?
Because mine's working. We get DNRs, not DNR. Sorry, yeah, I just killed it. Non-disclosure DNAs, we get non-disclosure, so we can't go out and tell anybody this is happening. And honestly, with us being as a municipal government, we get overruled. Even the ISD or ISADB or whatever the hell they call that, they can come in and they go to the Alberta government. The government's what says, okay, yeah, you guys have restrictions. Just make sure we have a permit so we know, oh yeah, what's going on.
So this kind of goes to a point I was thinking earlier about this is all nonsense. You know what I mean? Like we come here and try and make ourselves feel better, but it does nothing. Like, so this is the first time I'm hearing about it, yet that's literally going to be on my south boundary, right beside my house.
But so, okay, and this is what I wanted. Huh? No, I know, but you know what's funny about it is anything that goes on in the county, like if you have something that your neighbor wants, and he's gonna get it, he's gonna make enough of a stink that now you have a problem for having it. You had a neighbor that knew this was coming, but they're under the DNA. So, like, yeah.
This isn't me putting blame on you, right?
No, I'm just saying, I'm trying to explain it, it's,
This is like an effort in futility.
yeah.
When we do these things, because it just doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Any complaint that we've had over 20 years, nothing. We can go home and we can say, fucking rights. You know, I feel better, I just ranted and railed at the system, but it's nothing.
No, because the rail site's still going in and we're still gonna have to live. It's going in regardless. If we wouldn't have found out about it and come to this meeting, it still would have went in.
Yeah.
Nobody would have told us, and guess what? Now we're screwed because nobody wants our property. Nobody wanted our property when they moved to the west of us. It's gonna be even worse now.
And then you guys wonder why we balk at any industry coming in, because you guys get a non-disclosure, we don't get the information, and the shit just appears. It doesn't ruin your property, but it ruins ours.
It's not even just a matter of, it ruins your quality of fucking life.
As it is, those trains to the west of me, when they were doing the construction, we made multiple phone calls to have them shut the phone back up for something. That's all we can hear all night long. It was beep, beep, beep. And now we can hear them shunting cars all the time, and that's to the west of us, and that's across the creek. I can't imagine what Dennis and Fiona feel like, you know what I mean? They're right there. And now we're gonna have that just to the south. But it seems so ridiculous that the quality of life of me and my wife means nothing, means absolutely nothing because of business.
Yeah, well, we don't,
Business is coming in.
we don't know if it's town there anymore either. It's originally kind of storage yard.
I have a question. What kind of money did they bring into this county? Like, why did we even say yes to begin with? Like, did they bring money in? They didn't give us jobs because who works there?
No, yeah, I don't know who works there. I can't
There's
tell
like
you.
3 guys working.
Yeah,
So
That's it.
we bring in this big rail site that's going to affect all of the families in, I don't know, 5 months.
Yeah.
And nobody gives a shit because why? Like, they don't bring money, like, why do we not here?
yeah.
And they're expanding. And they're expanding, like, I don't get it. What are they doing for the county?
So, and then I hate to bring this one back up, but it's a tax base for them right now. They're paying, I think it's 1.3 million in taxes. So then what happens though too is they're coming in ahead of rest of industry. Because if you stop and think about it, industry is not gonna come here. They're not gonna come here and set up a rail yard on Mr. Clockey's old property because they figured he's the guy they need to put it on. They're doing it for a purpose. And the purpose is, as soon as industry starts coming, that's gonna be where it's gonna be going.
This is 20 years.
Yeah.
We've been hearing this for
Yeah.
years. I'm gonna be fucking pension age, and it's still gonna be nothing there. There won't be any, there will still be Lamont, and there will still be Midland Rail, and that'll be it. And I'll be sitting in my house, listening to them shut cars back and forth, listening to them bang on the fucking sidewalk with Lamont.
So, and this is what I was in,
Life of the people around there, that has to mean something.
wait, for sure it does.
Like,
It
To
has to
us.
mean something to you, but who the fuck makes the decisions? Because it doesn't mean anything to them.
So the fellas in Ottawa that we went to visit are the ones that think they make those industry decisions. So the red tape reduction that I went for, I'll get his name here, the minister I sat and talked with. They pretty much told us, or you could get from them, they want to help us out, but they don't know what they need help us with. So they don't, well, and here's an example. So as we're sitting there, they're telling us that Fort Saskatchewan area here is the largest LNG feedstock in the continent, like in this area, in the whole continent. But yet, we're shipping it, they were hauling it with a pipeline down to Vancouver, to send it out. On the East Coast, as we were talking, 2 ships of LNG came in, they bought from Australia. They don't care what we're doing here. They're trying to make sure they make a global warming and advocacy for that and everything else. They don't,
I get it, I totally get what you're saying.
like, it was like, just when
Literally
you go
goes
talking to
on
them.
that this is all theater, what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And this isn't a shock, you guys, I get it, this isn't a shock. But what does any of this mean right now? Other than the fact that we've asked a question, we've get no answer. That's it.
Well, and it's not, it's the answer that we get because we don't have it. I mean, we're at the mercy of, as a federal or provincial government.
Rail is federal government.
Yeah, and yeah.
That's the one, rail is the one thing that you can't stop, federal government. They want to put a rail, they're putting a rail, you can't stop
But
it.
but you can't solve any of the governments anyway, because this whole heartland deal, this was a framework done by the provincial government, was it not?
1978 Alberta
That's what I
Energy,
mean, so like, I appreciate what you guys are doing. I'll just shut my mouth. Put my mouth up, and try to let it go.
we don't know which way to expand it. So that's right.
Anybody else?
I know that, how they feel we had the same thing happen, that Wheelock was built, that's what our place.
Yeah.
We had work, we had lawyers involved. There was also other ones that had back, politicians, their back pocket. And like I say, what you want to do is, if you
Something gets happened, the station is up and buy the person that's living within 2 or 3 miles of it. You buy those people out at a plus figure deal that they want to sell. That's the only way about it. Otherwise, you're putting up their rent, putting up noise. We had to put up with all the demurrage stuff in the feedlot. Until these new owners come over, at least they got a greener area. The other guys. You want to talk about quality of life?
Mr. Lessig.
I'm the chief subject, yeah.
No?
Yeah.
There you go.
I do know now there's other people like me out there now. I never knew you guys. I'm all alone where I am with our troubles. I'm the same way. I can talk forever, nobody listens to me. But this is a different subject. So on December 15th, I phoned Neil. We received a notice of approval for permit number 042-25. So that day when I went to the county office, I was told by administration that only the owner of the property on which the permit applies to can receive any information regarding that permit application approval. We know that's wrong already. So I don't know why they're giving us false information right there. Okay, and then I would have to flip it, so I did. The next day, okay, I'll continue. The Land and Property Rights Tribunal, which follows the Municipal Government Act, states that all adjacent and affected landowners must be provided with all relevant information about a development near them, and that information does not need to be flipped. Okay? I phoned 3 different counties on it. They all supplied all the information to adjacent landowners. After December 16th meeting, Neil brought this up to administration, and administration told all the councillors that it is illegal to provide this information to anyone but the permit applicant now. So already they're changing their stories. Okay, on December 18th, so 2 days later, administration emailed us and with a redacted copy of the notice of decision and said that we should have been provided with this and that we don't need to fight it. We still, and that would be refunded our $25. So now it's 2 months later, we haven't been refunded our $25. We've never received all the relevant information on this project. So how can a ratepayer provide the county with a letter of concern or file an appeal if the county fails to provide a ratepayer with all the relevant information about the development near them? How are we supposed to do that?
Okay, so, because I didn't know anything about this one. I don't know if any of
I
them.
brought it up at the meeting.
Yeah. But I didn't know about the permit, like, we didn't know that you guys never got served with any paperwork.
We
So-
did.
Yeah,
We
that's
got
a
notice of decision.
042-25?
Huh?
042.
Yeah, we got the notice of approval for permits.
What
We
is
never got any information on it.
What is the date again, Peter?
December 15th.
December 15th.
At the meeting, what date?
Hang on, the meeting was on December 16th,
Yeah.
the next day.
It was
I
all
phoned
brought
Neil,
up,
I phoned you, Aaron, also, but I didn't leave you a message.
Okay.
So it just seems so, like, what good is it? And then, so with this permit, why would the county accept a permit application knowing that the information on it is incorrect or misleading? Then turn around and tell me that it's gonna cost me $300 to tell them something that they already know. Makes no sense.
Well, no, I'm gonna bring this one up tomorrow while we're back at the office, because, yeah, even, like Mr. DeSwank was saying, that information should have been brought to all neighbors, because everybody's affected, right?
So what happens now? We have this permit that's approved.
Yeah.
And if we're way past the due date, well, I haven't run anything on it yet.
Isn't that the permit that was for south?
They're building a berm. I'm not against the berm, I'm not against all this, but I can go on because they told you that I know the exact spot this thing is going. How the hell did I ever know that? I'm not even allowed on the property.
See, I thought this was for that south of 45.
Oh, and Peter told me from the county office it was getting nowhere. So then the next day was a meeting and I brought it up to Peter.
Yeah, you brought it up.
And, brought everything up and.
I mean, I have the same concern as those other people have, that I can talk at these meetings like crazy and they just bang as much as they want to bang and they do whatever they want to do there.
Okay, Peter, I'll tell you honestly, I apologize, because I didn't know about this, and these fellas here both just said, this is something totally different than what we thought a permit was for.
Well,
Because we're told that still is taking to get a bunch of, because the industry has changed, and because of the war, they're not buying the sand from down south anymore, they're buying a bunch more, and they're doing it across the river yet.
Yeah. And like,
And we were told, from what I was under the understanding, this was a permit that was for them to excavate south.
But that was after, the December one was that berm that I brought up, and then they got another for the excavation.
So this is just a stockpiling permit?
no, this is, they want to build a berm on just kind of east of them. They want to build a berm, right beside us, they want to build a berm there. It's supposed to help with noise and all that, but we're actually supposed to stop the sand, but as you can see, the fence is however high, the piles are however much high, like I was telling you right before, it's one thing when a permit is approved, and again, I'm not disapproving anything here, when you approve a permit to haul in 1,000 loads of sand, but how about if you haul in 100,000 loads of sand? You know how much more sand there is there? You know what that wind does with that shit? And where it's everywhere, and nobody cares. I'm not getting on you guys at all. But, you know, I mean, yeah, some people there do a little bit, I mean, they water from 6 till 6, so at 6 o'clock, the wind and the sand's supposed to stop blowing until 6 the next day. Like, it doesn't make sense. None of this stuff makes sense there.
I imagine the other day didn't work.
Well, no, what do you think?
It's only sad but shingles.
Yeah.
Well, everything, I mean, that's an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
So don't look at that type of day as being the normal, because it's not. But it's all the time there. I mean, and from the company, the thing is, it's the gravel road. Well, it's covered in snow. How the hell can it be the gravel road blowing?
Okay, no, I'll look into this one tomorrow for sure, and I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a prime example of these outfits at the end and want to build. Now, the first thing that should happen is they should approach the landowner and say, we want to build this, we want to buy the property, want to sell. We would have sold right away if that would have happened with that people. Now we can live with it. Same as those people there, if they ever get approached and said, want to sell your property, bring your price. That should be included in any dealings with any industry coming in.
I do think, though, and I don't know about Mr. Lessig himself, but I know the people in the area that were adjacent to it were offered money and were bought out. So,
They offer, you're right, they offer us money, but they gave our neighbor 450% more than they offered us.
oh,
Difference.
There you go.
So why would they offer you money, but they can force you?
Yeah.
They can put sand on you, and don't, and by law state, they're not supposed to do all this. I can read you something.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to matter.
Is there an industrial development policy that the county has to consider effects or impacts of that industrial development? Especially with the Heartland project, I mean, as that grows, that's gonna become a bigger issue for everybody that's there. So why is industry talking to, why isn't there an impact study that says we're gonna have noise for half a mile, so we gotta consult those owners within half a mile before we get approval? Why that?
Put a buffer around.
well, so, and that's what it did. So it ends up being, you guys are kind of stuck right on the corner. You're right on the edge of the buffer. 200 is.
No, but what I'm saying is that if there's a business coming in there,
Mhm.
there shouldn't be a residence right beside that business. They should have to have X amount of distance between a residence and a business. And they can sell that land again to another business if they like, but not a residence.
Yeah, see, now where we're stuck at is, so like, and I'll use Mr. Lessig as an example. So they get the ability to buy the land to set up a business. Then what they do is they come to us and we put out the guidelines that were mandated through the MGA. Right now, we don't really have a noise one. That's the one we're working on. But like for wind and for, you can't affect your neighbor and whatever else. So they go and they put up berms to start off with for Mr. Lessig. And then they build it piles higher than the berm.
Well, who's enforcing that?
This is Alberta, this is part of what I was getting at. We don't, I don't know where Derek's at, but we can go drive by there and try to enforce anything, and all you're doing is giving a ticket out the window, because they get to go to the AER, the Alberta Environment, and they overrule pretty much anything we say. We get to set the policy and the guidelines for them, but they get to allow them to bend those guidelines or fix them the way they need.
You're very right. And what happens, at least with us, is their environmental team come back and tell us that, well, there's no rules. We can do whatever we want. Even if the company wants to do something good, their environmental team comes in and just says, well, no, we don't have to because the county has no rules and there's no rules in government. And you're stuck. You're really stuck.
So I'll go back to that. Why can't the county have a policy that's a higher standard than the AER?
Because, Mark, it would be like this. It would be like if you had kids and kids told you know that, you're not doing that. What would you say? Yeah, we would go. And it is. I hate to be the guy that says it, but we're watched over and told what we can and can't do. And, you know, that's the hardest part of it. You don't get the ability. Every one of us here is from here. We've all been here. All these same rules that are affecting you guys? No.
No.
No, you're not on it either, but close. But the thing is, and that's where the rest of us are trying to make it so it's something for you, Clay, right? I don't want to see an industry right next to your yard. But I also want to make sure that we're getting some industry that's going to move things out so that when the next plant comes in, they have the money, they're going to come up and say, here, take your wife, move to somewhere nice, here's the money. But, you know, I have to. You know what's funny is, I've been on it for 4 years, and then for about, or 5 years, not quite, and for about 6, I've been talking to Sylvia, and I hear about it all the time. Because I know what you guys are going through. I grew up with people up here, and this is still my place where I live too. You know, I don't want to see you guys go through this, but I can't tell them to hurry up and do it. Their red tape reduction minister, that Saki, or whatever his name is, out there in Ottawa, he told me it's 5 to 7 years before they even get the approvals to do it. So they put in it, then they start working, and as they're doing it, that plant's not going to get running for 4 to 5 years after that. It's a 10-year process for them coming to see the government before they even get that thing up and running. And that's what makes it so hard, is you can't get industry going faster. That's why it's taken 20 years, besides the fact that we didn't get on putting a water spigot in, which we should have known. We don't have the natural gas that we need right now. We have natural gas, but we're not tied into that big feed line. It's like the feedstock. That's another thing that has to be brought up so that we can entice more industry. But what a lot of,
is that actually going to entice more industry?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
we lost one.
what if you had some sort of commitments from industry before designating tax dollars to a job like that?
Yeah, so actually one of the people that were at Ottawa with us, they came to advocate for Alberta, is a company called Interprovincial Fuel Solutions. I talked with him personally, some billionaire fella that decided he wanted to make his own oil company, fuel company. He said we were one of the top contenders. However, our water line isn't in yet. He said by the time they worked, they would have had the ability to match our timeline. But our feedstock for oil, or for natural gas, isn't here yet. So they're in Strathcona, because Strathcona does the on-site levy thing. They entice them with it. They don't need to. And that's why Strathcona is as big as it is. It's the biggest power in North America right now. Strathcona County has the biggest amount of industry in its county borders than anywhere else in North America. Yeah, well, and it's the things that we don't have that they have in there, and they started doing what we're doing here. We talked with the mayor at one point in time, and he said, this is how they started. Sherwood Park is still a hamlet.
Yeah.
Because they know how to do it.
Actually, Dow is Port Saskatchewan,
Yeah,
they pay
and
the
Dow.
taxes to Port Saskatchewan and that from Dow.
And the thing with Dow too is, so they're building now, they took a year off, they announced they're building again. They don't actually start paying their full levy tax on those for 4 years. So they get the tax incentive breaks on it, and it's the same as a levy, where they get the ability not to pay for that portion so they can pay for their building part of it. And then pay portions of it to get finished off for the infrastructure. So I get where you're coming at. We've been fighting this, been talking for 3 councils before me. And it's, you're like beating a dead horse trying to get them to get up and get functioning. And we all feel it. I mean, you can go over, Miles over here lives over by Mundare. You go over by him, you go over to Broski's down Mundare, people there talk about it. But they don't, it doesn't, they're not affected the way you guys are. No, they're affected because of the tax base isn't there for them, right? So they don't get the graders, they don't get the new fancy stuff like everybody else does in our neighboring communities. But the fact is, if we don't get them here, we don't get that. We get our taxes what more for the same as what we've been living with. Even if industry went out, where would we be?
Has there ever been an idea of like just rethinking the whole thing? Maybe that just isn't the way to go with the industrial apartment thing. Like, is that something that can be brought up? And I only say this because in 20 years, what has happened? You know what I mean? How many acres total have been zoned as industrial?
582 square miles.
So in that 582 square miles in the last 20 years, what have we seen from businesses?
But that's all 3 counties, all 3 counties.
That's the whole industrial.
That's the
not
whole,
Just come on, count.
24,000 acres.
24,000 acres. We've had Midland, we've had Raymond.
Yep. Synovus.
Synovus is here. Synovus,
But they're still industry. That was.
no, but they were here before we had all this zoning done. All this industrial heartland zoning was done. Synovus was there already.
Okay, so you had Triton, which is now that new guy. Fortune Minerals is who they are. It's the Triton building, but Fortune Minerals just came in. And now we have another company that is an AI center that bought the old Bitcoin place. They are going to be building there.
So in 20 years, we had what, 5 businesses?
Yeah, like from 1978, Alberta Energy came to the county of Lamont, they bought land, they moved the dirt, and they were gonna start building a big refinery where the Hasco Trevita land is, and Bungie has now. And they moved all the dirt, they're ready to go, and then lo and behold, Pierre Elliott Trudeau got in power, and everything stopped. 2 years later, they put the dirt back, and that was the end of it, right? That would have been a good kick, a good start, right, for the county. But since 1978, and getting in, big rules, you know, we were always overpowered. They got in the heartland where I live, and we got, the kid has a yard, we can't build houses and stuff unless it burns down, you know the rules, right? Yeah. So anyways, we got, I lost train of thought for a second. We got, a guy applied for, to build another residence in the yard to be a caregiver.
Yeah.
It didn't fall within our policies and stuff, so we rejected land use bylaw and stuff. They went to the Alberta government overruled us and the house is there. So now they're closer than you are to the rail yard. So what's gonna happen for them with the noise and stuff? Like, now Alberta government explain what can we do for these people now? Granted, they knew the rail yard is there, they still built the house, but now if something happens, they move on, somebody else buys it, are they gonna be complaining, right? So that's why they had, since 1978, we've been living with the rules in Heartland, right? Along with you guys after you bought whatever year.
So there was all those restrictions for all on properties from that time.
No, that came on later on, but that's the start of the industry came in. And Alberta Energy bought a whole bunch of land up north in our county, also up in the Sand Hills.
I'm just saying, like, so if 24,000 acres that was zoned, we could say that there's a section of land right now that's occupied, right?
Actually, since the parkland was sold, we've lost industry. Because Alpine is gone, Triton is gone, that other ship is gone. And all we've got to replace is Midland,
attest to this as well, people are scared of apartments, and they're not gone because it got sold.
No, they're gone.
No, but they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah,
But that building is being bought out, bought used again now, but yeah, you're not wrong, they're gone, but they were, yeah, like they said, it was management that got them. So
But-
they're-
But at the end of the day, I heard everything you said, Eric, I mean, infrastructure needs to be there for industry practice, okay? But there's been over 20 years for this municipality to get ready for that. Okay, I don't think anybody would argue that point. But I will say this, for personal experience, and it's not you guys per se, except maybe one. You guys are the ones. If you don't get control of your administration, you're not gonna have industry here, because your administration doesn't know how to play with them. It's not, can I give you a cup of coffee and how can we help you? The first thing out of their mouth is, those would cost you $6 million for a road use agreement. I have 4 companies in Calgary right now that are still throwing darts at the county want map. Because this county's got a bad image.
And in 20 years, if you knew it was gonna come to this, in 20 years, you had to know we're gonna need gas. You had to have known we're gonna need water. You had to have known the infrastructure didn't match what you wanna bring in. So why wasn't some type of account put aside where money goes in and you save it and start building towards the infrastructure? Now you need $66 million to build a water line, and we could end up handing over keys like Gibbons. Because that's a huge ask for this county, knowing where we're at. So like, why nobody built up? If we're part of the industrial heartland, why didn't they set you guys up to succeed? Why didn't they say, hey, guys, like, if you want to get that infrastructure, if you want to get there, here's your end goal. Start saving money, start putting reserves away so you can afford to build your infrastructure, not go, oh, good, okay, 20 years later, now we need a water line. And at the highest point of concession, at the highest point of what things cost to build, we're gonna put in a water. Like, it makes 0 sense. For 20 years, it sat there with nothing, and we have no money set aside to even do it. That's gotta be the most dumbest way to save money I've ever seen, to invest in something that you want to grow.
Well, then we can get a new fire truck and, $1 million spent in one day is nothing.
Just a comment on development permits. Usually, if someone comes and wants to open a gravel pit, you send a letter to the neighbors object. So if you don't approve the development permit, the applicant will appeal it, and he goes before the government appeal board. If we approve it, and the people that got the notice about it in the area, they appeal it. So it's kind of a coin toss where that's gonna happen, but usually it gets approved. I got a council, it was mandatory that councillors took a course for an appeal board. First, we had one gravel pit hearing, and we didn't even attend it because we have a biased opinion. Nobody wants a councillor on a development permit hearing. So now it's a non-biased appeal board of the province.
Just want to further on a comment there with lady in the back. I can't think, remember her name, Seda. Sorry. Yeah, I agree with you that this county, we need industry down the road. It should have been for the last 20 years, and I've been there for 35. And you see these industries when you drive to Edmonton. Why aren't we getting them? There's a lot to it. It's not just happening overnight. A lot of you people know what it's all about. A lot of you work with industry and stuff on there. Coming in right now as a counselor and stuff from where I was, I'm learning a lot of stuff, like it says. As for the Heartland area, I'm still learning a lot of stuff, what's happening. I looked after that area for years and years and years. And like it says, to a lot of the people, like Peter with Silica, Phyllis and that, dealing with these industries and stuff, their comment was they should be bought out, residents should be bought out by the industry. And I support that. I got no problem with it. But like Aaron mentioned, government overrules us and stuff. That's what I'm learning along the way. Before, being in public works was a little different. Now when you're a counselor, you got the government to answer to of us and stuff.
And the government shouldn't be involved in building there, or anybody that wants to sell their property with a developing corporation. Government should not be involved there at all. That's nothing to do with government.
No, but either we don't, we can't go and tell them that, listen, if you buy it, you have to buy the neighbor.
You have to buy him and him and him.
Yeah.
We can't.
We don't get the ability to do that.
If that's the case, if we can't do it like those people there that beat here with Silica, lower the taxes rate down to 10% from what he's paying now. And leave it at standing order.
So the thing is though, is if we lower the taxes down to 10%, you're gonna get more industry coming in. Because honestly, that's what we're trying to do. But we still have to offset our regular cost of what we have today. Without industry in, we're still floating with what we have. You drop the industry, or you drop it down, that just, like I said before, it takes up to 10 years to build. So even if they buy that land, they're only gonna pay you what the land is worth. They're not gonna pay you what the finished plant would be worth until the plant is finished. So you have 10 years now that we dropped it from, say we're at 16%. We drop it down to 10%, you're losing 6% for the next 10 years until they're functioning. Because that's how we're allowed to charge for taxes. We can't. So they kind of got us coming and going. We're stuck. And then right now, the reason why they're kind of still going that way is our industry tax rate is almost double what Strathcona and Sturgeon is.
Yeah, but they have a lot more to offer.
But that's exactly why they can offer that rate. We can't offer it to them because if we were to offer that rate to them, we would have to be bringing yours up and yours up and yours up to be able to cover.
Were you saying that Peter's taxes should be 10%? Yeah, I said, lower your land taxes, raise that. Peter's taxes, his property taxes should be 10%.
Because of how he does it.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. But like you guys will commit that, same thing. No, I'm still working.
I'm just gonna add here, 3 years ago or so, 3.5. County Lamont, things are looking really good. We had, we signed disclosures, but Bungie, I can use their name, they bought the land, they did about $14 million of prep. They got a bunch of equipment and stuff there. They haven't gone away. They're still, they haven't gone away. I don't know what they're doing, but they haven't gone away. Along with that, we had 2 more companies that wanted to come and one to join them and one to work off some of the spin-off. They're all excited. We're working on getting our water license. It took 5 years. I think it was 5 years by the time we got our water license. I have an opinion why it took that long, but anyway, it took 5 years. Dow Chemical said they're gonna do $14 billion expansion for Fort Saskatchewan. Everything was looking good, right, 3 years ago. And then we had an election and Trudeau got back in, Justin. Dow put their project on hold. They just announced they're going again here in January. They're going. Bungie, we signed disclosure, but we know they got the land. They bought out Viterra and stuff. So until the government told them what they can and can't own, because you can't have a monopoly. So in the meantime, after the election, we're left with Bungie, and we got a few more that are knocking, but not as close as we were. And without water, strong in the water, We got natural gas south, there's a big pipeline, one of those, it's gonna bring gas from, south of Highway 15, not very far, there's a big Trans-Canada line or whatever the company is, and, we got in the northeast corner of, county of Lamont, there's 3 big natural gas lines going to eastern Canada and Michigan and stuff. And, at one time, we had a company bought a right of way all the way from there, and they were gonna supply Dow Chemical, because ATCO and Dow was getting into a scrap, so they were gonna get a different supplier of natural gas, so it's close. You're not gonna spend millions of dollars on a water pipeline unless there's industry that's gonna use it, and, you go into partnership, they help build it. We can't afford $60 million. We're not gonna say, your grain farm in Hilliard is gonna pay for a water line. We gotta work together with industry, like I said, it was close, and then we had an election, and I don't have to explain anymore.
Hang on a sec, Peter, I got just for Clay and for you guys in the heartland. So this was one of the things that I pulled, and I got some information from the guys that are running the Industrial Heartland Association. I can't give names, but I'll tell you that right now, we have qualified leads where we got 3 of them. There's 3 industry that are coming to Lamont County. We have 10 more leads that are exploring Lamont County because of our location and because of the water line that's going in. And then there is 11 more prospects that have been calling and talking and requesting information from our economic development manager. So right there's 23, 3 of them we already have. So it's a slower process than any of us ever wanted to see, but it is moving forward. It's,
So I have a question for you.
yes, ma'am.
This thing that you have to sign so that nobody.
And non-disclosure.
So let's say these next 3 companies decide to come in, are we gonna know about it?
Yeah, because once they make the sale and make it guaranteed through the government, so as soon as their policies pass, like they pass whatever the restrictions are through the government, they become public.
Okay.
So then you guys get notified the same or sooner than we do. So,
I'm just saying this because we still haven't been notified of the rail, so.
yeah, and the rail, so they bought it, they've applied for the development permit, they haven't built any of it yet.
I don't know if they got the development, they just applied,
Yeah.
so it,
Or
did they get it now for the expansion?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a guarantee. That was over and above us. So,
But, what does the industry want? They want gas, they want water, they want potable water, they want rail, they want roads. Did I say power?
Wouldn't
That-
it be easier just to move it all back to, like, it sounds like it's such a pain in the ass for everything. It's gonna be done by the time I'm dead, if my kids own the land. Like, why bother? It's good farmland, why can't we just take it back?
Just, Phyllis, the Northwest Upgrader was coming to the county of Lamont and then at 11 o'clock at night. It was changed and it's over in, Sturgeon County now. That one refinery alone would bring in 4 times what our whole tax roll is in the county of Lamont. One refinery alone would have, and it was destined for here, and then the last minute it got moved, a political.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
This is literally speaks to my 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years we've been hearing this. This isn't a shot at you or anything.
No.
This is just 20 years we've been hearing about business is coming in.
But
I
it's
hate
not.
to see it.
For the last 10,
When the business does come in, I do not want to be surrounded by industry as some fucking parcel of land that's got a gas plant over here, Midland Rail right here, and who knows wherever else they should. That's the point I'm making.
some people don't want to hear this, but for the last 10 years, we had the Liberal government. Ever since they got in, nothing's got it. That's, and like I said, we had 3 years ago. I was excited because I thought it's going to be good for the county, right? We're going to have 4 times the taxes we're getting, and we're only using up 3 square miles of county land, right? And then there's going to be buffers and everything. And an election happened.
But we still have a little government, what's gonna change? We're stuck with these guys for how many more years?
the next election.
Well, or longer, or maybe more.
So,
is zero excitement left.
Okay.
Because it is like 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years, I've been hearing the same thing from everybody in the house. That the industry is coming. And I get the excitement that you guys may have over it, having seen information, but you should understand how skeptical.
Yeah.
Taxpayers would be.
And how optimistic people.
But we did see it coming and they're already, looking at land and like I mean, it was exciting. And then, election happened and everybody left, so it's, and we said industry's coming, now all of a sudden we can't, but now there's some more bites. We can't say who or what or where, but
Who knows something?
But at the end of the day, whether it's a liberal government, a conservative government, or a communist government, it doesn't matter, because you guys aren't helping us in the heartland anyway. Every time there's a change in the land use bylaw, we get nailed again and again and again and again. 20 years we've been living under restrictions. For what? What? What?
So wasn't there a vote to go towards this? And all landowners in that area were offered money? I know people that had a money that was offered to them to keep their land. Family friends? Was there not that part? I'm not part of this, because like I said, when this started, I was 3.
there was a group.
When they put out the vote, everybody in the county got to vote, so someone in Chickman got to say, yeah, my land's great for, industrial land.
No, there was no vote. There was no vote.
Well,
There
then
was
how
no
did
vote
you-
for our
land.
How do you just went about and just
The
blanket it?
council of the day, on the map over there on that wall, painted a section red from Highway 45 to Highway 15, from 831 to Highway 45, and said, here, this is gonna be our heartland.
And that's when we got all the rules and stuff. We had no say on the rules or nothing. Everybody in our line. It's, it was,
We didn't get a vote on this, we didn't get offered, we didn't even get offered.
was in 2007.
okay,
Yes,
They were going to propose all the way 31 to the river.
okay.
West of it was gonna be industrial heartland. I said, you guys are nuts, you're crazy. Bring it back down, but not, and Sylvia, you jumped on me because I jumped on you. That's why you're just none of your business, you stay out of it. They wanted their land zoned at that time, heavy industrial, because they had the opportunity. Then we did one. Now, 20 years later, you're complaining. We should never been any further than a few miles north of the railroad track. I was there, I spoke my peace of mind, and nobody listened.
the county told us at that time, and I'll tell you exactly who it was. It was Al Harvey and Danny Brown. They stood on that stage that you guys are sitting on, with that map stuck to the wall over there. And they told us, all of you people that are painted in red will be millionaires within the next 3 years, because there's a locomotive coming, we can see the light. What they saw was the light of the goddamn caboose.
Well, and 20 years later, are you rich yet?
No.
It's 1 year long.
This fellow right here with the hat on.
Yeah.
Julian.
On the same line, what development, but versus that water line. Right on the east side of both water lines. I know in the last minute, sometimes, like Dr. Neal, there's not advertised anywhere that they're having presentations and further having wherever they're gonna have. You know, it just seems like, gotta make this more publicized, whatever you're gonna do.
Well, that's all right. We almost didn't have this publicized tonight.
Yeah, just to add, with, Julian, I did send to everybody, because, I know a lot of people, they said they went door knocking right on 201. And a lot of people said they didn't have, so anybody had their cell numbers, I sent, invite for the open house, right? So that you guys got it and stuff. Over here, I told the owner of the paper about the advertising for this, because I want everybody here, because there are other problems beside the Heartland. We'll get to them, but, I phoned, the guy that owns the paper, I said, is there anything in the paper for this? And he said, not really, there was one line in the focus page, so I, out of pocket, which I don't care, I paid, I sent what was on our Facebook page to the paper and they put it in last minute. They're shuffling stuff to get it in there. So like John said, it almost wasn't in there. And same thing with Teresa said, we better have some stuff, have a copy of visit after, before, during, right? And Monday morning, there was nothing lined up, so I went on my own again. Guys are chipping in, we went, got donuts, Chrissy made us last minute stuff, so.
Why wasn't it in the paper? You guys have the back page.
Exactly, it should have been in there 3 weeks in advance, and I guarantee, so I asked the guys, did anybody see it in the paper? So again, last night I was sending all over the county, North Andrew, everywhere, guys that are acreages or whatever in the county, I sent them last night for this, hoping we'd have, I was hoping for 300 people here and have other problems brought up in the open so we can start dealing with them. I know what lots of them are, but you know what I'm getting at.
You guys know it looks bad. You're not proactive on this stuff like this. It looks like you guys got something to hide, or you just don't want to deal with people in the county.
That's why they wanted coffee talks, and I was pushing that we have this with everybody, the whole county.
Yep.
And so everybody hears what, because there's different problems in Andrew area, different problems in Madare, Chipman.
Yep.
We all got, you know, so, and I got nothing to hide. I'm up here trying to be good for the whole county, right?
But
So.
you guys feel, is that your job to do that? Is it your job to do advertising and all that?
No, and so the
No,
wife,
you're doing that out of the kindness of your heart.
well, I did it, I sent the wipes down to make sure there's something here so they don't come to an empty hall, right? Because that's not the way I was brought up, so the wife went and picked up, I gave her cash this morning, not enough, but I never, but anyways, and I learned by the lady yelling at me at Co-op that you gotta order donuts 4 days in advance.
Who was
And
supposed to do the advertising? Who was supposed to advertise?
exactly.
Yeah, well, that's exactly
That's
where
where
we're
our
at.
problem is, right there.
Because they did advertise, but it was just a tiny little blurb.
They advertise because they don't want you guys talking to us like this. They don't want.
Well, and that was the reason why we made the decision, there's no administration here.
We wanted to.
Because this way here, you guys get a chance to talk to us.
Okay,
This
so if you don't want them here, then you know what the problem is. They still don't know the difference between the arena and the rec center.
Excuse me, and I appreciate the publicity of this one, because I saw it. Typically, it's on the last page and coffee, your coffee.
Yeah, top,
Page, but this thick right on the bottom of the page. It's the last page, it's not the first page, it's the second page.
I told the owner, I said I want a quarter page so the guys notice it and put it somewhere.
Absolutely.
If there's a sunshine girl in the paper, I wanted it on that page, so when the guys go there, they'll see it, right? I said, pick a page that everybody's gonna read.
Yeah.
Not in the back, because by then you're bored, right? So,
We just caught it by accident.
so go ahead.
We're not saying it's you guys
No.
that's the problem, no, but you guys know who the problem is. That's what needs to be dealt with.
I think you got a little bit too much stroke there, guys, very good handle on that.
Peter.
I have cases of it, yes. But I was talking to you about the permanent thing. So I've been at this since 2012, a long time. But on December 12th of 2024, I got a letter from the CEO, and in it, he sent me the cease communication policy. And I pledged it for all of them to monitor from then on. So are all my comments today in the public forum where Peter is hearing it and monitoring?
Well, we're in a public forum, so the whole world is.
Everybody gets to hear it.
Everyone's hearing us.
So I am monitored, everything I say.
No,
This
it's,
is,
They let the staff meet.
this
It's
is so that policy is to protect those guys if they feel that you're going after them. You elected us, you're not, we're here, I'm supposed to have
Whatever you
thick
say
skin.
to us
Yeah,
is.
This is
to
what you're talking to. You're not,
Yeah, there is
administration
no-
has nothing to do with this.
there's nothing, don't hide nothing. If you got something on somebody you wanna tell us, now's the time, because,
Policy like that anyway.
there was another man added to it now, and I don't know why. It's a ratepayer or somebody that wants to be a ratepayer or whatever. I'm open to hear it. If it's something we can do, I tell them. If it's something we can't, I tell them that too, right? I'm not hiding.
Yeah.
We're trying to make it, for all you guys. So if you know something's happening, now's the time, because they're not here.
You guys could really turn the clock on this guy, by putting in a whistleblower policy, because I got a bunch of questions here from that were bothering me, phoning me during the council meeting. So if you're ready for it.
Yeah, give her, turn your mic on though,
Turn your
please.
mic on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Sylvia, we want to hear him. Turn your mic on.
No. There, I heard you when your face was away from it.
Hello?
Yeah,
There you go.
Okay, we want everybody to hear, so.
Okay, I'm just gonna read them off. You guys take your notes?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read them off. Why are the culverts installed since the 2028 interfering with the grader's ability to push snow? Currently, they have to lift the blades or they'll smoke the culverts. There was no problem before the engineering came into account. If they were a foot or two longer on each end, there wouldn't be an issue. Got it?
Yeah, we got that for the greater man because the wind goes over the dirt. Now it takes the culvert up.
Okay. Why are positions in Public Works being filled with no advertising? Ready?
Yep, cool.
Why are so many employees at Public Works allowed to do nothing more than kick the can around all day long? Ready?
Okay,
Ready?
yeah, go.
Why was the county spare grader being used to open driveways while a beat grader was down for repair? And the operator couldn't get the spare grader to open roads, so the snow sat on the roads. While the spare grader drove around opening driveways.
That's what we were told today. That was an 11th grader that was added. One was down, one regular, 10 was down. That's what we were told today on that one. But I don't know. We don't know.
Okay, like, I'm just giving you the questions that were given to me.
Apparently it's a rumor, but a lot of times we're not told, right?
Okay, all right. Why have we changed from our regular, I guess the oil that wherever you guys were getting oil regularly to Chevron and now have motors blowing up all over the place?
Just one. Well.
The four. That would hurt, Dave. Sorry.
Okay, why is there no repercussions to employees who cause damage to county assets? Example, wash bay door, parked car in Hilliard. Okay, wait, I gotta get my cell phone.
After anybody has anything to add, if you heard something, let us know.
Yeah, just keep at it.
Because,
Reed, you must have something.
He's just twitching over there.
I know, I'm surprised he hasn't been up yet.
Okay, with the catastrophic failure of trying to keep a windshield in good order and trying to avoid rock chips from Highway 29 to St. Michael, what's the strategic plan to fix this mess?
Got no choice. Well, they haven't come up with anything. The whole thing's all dished out. Oh, it's horrible. It's already starting to crack apart. It was full of water on Sunday. Exactly.
and the water goes underneath to frost direct it.
It's destroyed. It needs. What a waste of money. That's total incompetence for one thing, and it's a big shame.
Yeah, so the reason why that was taken on, and I'll explain this to you, that we didn't have the budget to pay for it, to pave it, sorry. So the job was to seal it, to make it last for 2 more years, to be able to put it on, put another layer of asphalt on, so that we could afford it, right? However, the product they used and the job they did was not us, it was contracted. So a portion of it is still held back. They're not fully paid out. So we're trying to figure out how to get that rectified. That's just can't really explain it to you if we don't know how it's getting.
And for the record, I've been on our MLA steady for the St. Michael Road to get a lift of asphalt. 201 between the two highways, if they don't put a lift, it needs one more just to make, because it's got one lift so far. It's built the Pioneer Road near 195 and the Sil Silica, all our pavement to get another lift. And I've been working on Jackie, she's tired of me asking for asphalt on those roads, and I know there's government has cutbacks now, but I was pushing to get asphalt on there, and somehow the chip seal appeared.
Yeah, but no, we never is the next one. So I was watching the whole operation as they were doing it. And it is total incompetence of the contractor. I would ban that contractor from ever getting another job in the world.
Well, I gotta say something about that. That is honestly the same contractor that Alberta government is dealing with on a regular basis.
So then they're gonna be using.
And they did a great job in other places, absolutely great job. I think they ended up with a crappy road that really should have never had that product on it.
Exactly.
And you know, and it's like when you go to buy a new car, they're gonna sell you on all the things. And I think that's kind of where this is probably gone now.
But they were saying with the rock chips that we do for Alberta,
Oh,
those rock chips are washed.
yeah, the spec is different.
This stuff was not washed or screened. It was dust. There's 70% dust in those rock chips.
Yeah, the government expects a Cadillac, and by the looks of it, we ended up with a Ford.
Hey.
Okay, this is a question for Gerald. I thought we chip sealed that once before, when you were working.
Before it had ruts.
Oh, 2015, somewhere there.
6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
It was before I got. I don't know, the same contract it was, it would be the same contract that did it, because it's West Canada, does 99% of the chip seal at the time.
yeah, and they do wonderful jobs on it, everywhere else.
The problem with that road, it had the ruts with the water, so you couldn't pack it, right? The packer is gonna go, it was a mistake putting that material, that the ruts needed to be filled in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another layer of asphalt, on asphalt.
Yeah. So last time when they did it, it had no ruts in it, they chip sealed it for ice and stuff, but
They're actually the same contractor that did Highway 34 from Chicken to 16.
You were the same guys, the lines were big.
I don't know what happened with the
See how
line.
big those lines are?
there's Chicken Hotel,
Well, it was on the way to St. Michael Hotel. Maybe they thought the bar was still there.
they started at Chipman, I know, that's what I said, they started at Chipman Hotel and worked their way to Tokyo.
That's incompetent, still incompetent.
It's gonna take, there's gonna be, we're gonna have to look at it.
Sylvia, you got more there? You got your full, or anybody want to add?
I've got a couple of my own, but I think it's because they're.
We got a question here in front. Yeah.
So, first question I have is, we have Sil Silica hauling sand up on 580. I'm assuming they have a road use agreement, they're maintaining their own road. But they're putting all the aggregate off the top of the road in the ditch right now to make sure those guys can actually try to stay on the road. So who pays for the replacement of that aggregate? Is that their responsibility when they're done to go re-gravel that road from the pit to the highway? And who makes sure that it gets done?
It is theirs, and we're
Public Works.
Okay, that was question number one. So thanks. Now the water pipeline's going ahead, but we don't have an end user for the water pipeline at this point in time, right? So is the county budgeting for the maintenance and preservation of that line from the time it's completed to the time that it may be used?
There is no pipeline right now. It's preliminary. We're trying.
Intake of the reservoir at the site.
So to get to be everything out in the open, Alberta government gave 16 million for each county, Strathcona, to build Straw on the River, the pipe suction. That's getting built. We got, Alberta government's paying for everything, the engineering, everything, it'll be covered. And then the pipeline, they gotta get So it's ready, on the shelf ready project, right? So that's what they're working on in the
It's a
pipeline.
concept drawing.
Concept drawing. There'll be nothing until there's an end user that's gonna
All
help.
I'm asking though is
Yeah.
if facilities are built, and if the county of Lamont is gonna be the owner of that facility, are we budgeting for some kind of maintenance and preservation? Because you can't just build that facility and deal with it for 15 years, right? So in the forward thinking concept, I'm just asking if that's part of that proposal and conversation.
Well, and I mean, you know, with your background, that when a pipeline is built, they can set it for 15 years. They just nitrogen it. and
This is
set
a
it
lot
to-
of a plan.
Right, so, and that's part of, that's like with WSP is the main contractor. They set that up in motion knowing that they're projected from what we've kind of heard. They know that if there's a 5-year span on that minimum. By the time we build it, if industry goes in. What we're trying to do is build it so that when industry's building, we're building and to them. And if we can get them to levy into some of it, let them pay for a portion, that's what we're gonna do, not try to just recoup it all on water.
Dave, you got a question?
Yes, I do, actually, with that, so it's at 580. I don't know if anybody knows, but in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 major accidents.
Yeah, one today.
31.
Yesterday.
Was that yesterday?
That was yesterday morning.
Yesterday, and last Tuesday, Aggie Terrace, or from the set, their service truck, the gravel trucks, not stopping, pulling up front. Third day, we did a tank truck, E31, tank trucks, pictures over the east and west side of the road, tank truck, gravel truck, pulled up front, tank truck east. This is the causing, we got killed, thanks a lot.
No, he did a good job of avoiding what could have been a very tragic
So I
incident.
drive down road 58 every morning. I purposely stay down the middle of that road because those guys coming down that road. There's 2 trucks turning at the same time on E31, one's going on. Pulling trailers on road, okay? So we have to do something before somebody gets killed. If you guys not feel bad, we all know what's happening there. But some of my kids, my wife, my neighbor, my parents, it's killed in that corner. How would we feel? So I think we should be looking at that. Or at least maybe something like that, we should shut down for a week.
Or some of the rules like stop signs, speed limits, get somebody to watch this, monitor this right now. Are these trucks stop, you know, I know it's hard to take trucks in, you know, your point, but we control this a little bit better. That's what we're here.
Right in the back.
Sydney, Cynthia.
I live straight down, or straight south of Sill, and they don't stop at the stop sign. They don't stop at all. They don't care that you're driving down the road. They drive down the middle and you gotta go. I don't know, like, it's happened. Because they don't stop.
I'm there every morning, and hopefully I can hear it tomorrow, come to work. So, I don't know what else to say.
Sorry, were you done? Sorry, as Dave was standing there waiting, were you done? Oh, sorry, okay. Good. Yeah, another. Sorry, I see you.
Sorry, I had to go, that's why I wanted to finish up there.
Okay, and you're done, so, okay. Anybody else, you said, say that? Or, oh, right there, Keith.
Taxes in 2023 to 2025, 24% increase. Nothing's changed, the road hasn't improved, and I don't know why.
They didn't go up county taxes.
Requisitions.
taxes.
Yeah, no, let's counting,
Requisition.
yeah.
23.47.
So education itself went up last year, 11%. 1 year ago. There was a little pamphlet that was in there showed you, we set it at 2%. That's all it went up.
Is this gonna carry on?
2%. So now, I signed a letter today that is, we sent it to the provincial government Because from now until 2030, they expect us to pay by 2030, it's gonna be $827,000 for policing itself. For more cops to be here, there's nothing. So we asked them, they collect it, not us. Put it on their tax bill, not us. Because they did the same as us. They're building 88 schools in the province of Alberta. Not one in this county or any county joining us. But we're paying 11%, and that's just Lamont County. But Beaver County is paying 19%.
Keith, last year in the Alberta government budget, they said they're gonna save $1,500 a couple on Alberta taxes. The next day, they upped in the county of Lamont 11% to school tax. So that's way more. We got 2 farm yards, we're paying $2,700 school tax on 2 farm yards. Everybody's got the same. They're pushing it on. The policing now is 200 some grand by the time.
Well, housing. So the housing foundation too is, when I started 5 years ago, we were at $164,000. Was it now they're asking by the end of
No, we were up to
500 some thousand?
The housing foundation is 600 grand this year, but we were up to 900 some thousand. And then we closed, I was on the board at the time we closed the Mundair lodge down because we were 500,000 in the hole with that. So the requisition for the housing came down, and this year went up 5 or 6. So last 3%, sorry, this year. So it's 600 some grand, but we were up to 900 and something. But it's the requisitions are popping up on there. So it looks like the landfill, they didn't give us one yet.
I'll give it to Lee.
Yeah, but John's on that board. I don't know what they're discussing.
They're still farting around with it.
Yeah, so the county tax part of it's been going up a couple % per year, but the requisitions are the ones that are really adding up for everybody, all of us.
It's the big ticket items. It's gonna be the police and the housing, the school, like that's the ones that are adding up big on your taxes. Big.
I think Calgary's school tax went 24% last year in the city of Calgary, where they need schools and that, but ours went 11. I think the counties around us were all around 11% increase. And that's, what is the school tax? 3 million? What is it? Yeah, sorry, the school taxes are in the millions of dollars. I thought we had it here, but you take 11% of $3 million, is a lot of money to increase for 3,800 population, right? It's
We're paying a big chunk per person.
Yeah.
And mine is a million people. And his taxes to mine, they're in buildings, land, and acres. His taxes to mine is 1/3 of the county's.
In regards to the policing, I got a question in regards to that. We're spending that much money for the policing. Are they feelings enforcement or law enforcement? Because I have personal experience where I've been on the phone for 45 minutes while I'm watching the thieves ransack my shop, and they show up 25 minutes afterwards. But you use words to the counselors or someone in the office, 20 minutes, you're at my doorstep. 3 times now this has happened when I voiced my opinion. Are they gonna be out of my door tonight? Because it's happened to me. The shop just outside by the Heartland Hotel, catalytic converters, couldn't keep them in vehicles. Right, customers come in, next morning it's gone. The shop got broken into, $80,000. Walk out of the shop, they don't do nothing about it. I had a picture of them in Edmonton when the truck was full of the shop with equipment in the back. Sorry, we can't do nothing about it. But you use words that they don't like, or someone's feelings get hurt, they're at your doorstep in 20 minutes. That is pathetic. It seems that if you're a corporation or government entities, you can control the police and they'll look after you. But if you're a public pay rater of our county, they're not there for you. The other, you're talking about road, and you have allowances for people to drive on the roads. You have these guys hauling the crap and putting it in the farmers' fields. They're supposed to be looking after the roads. I spent 2 years fighting with the county because my wife caught ruts from these guys in the trucks. and she went into the ditch. They wouldn't do nothing for me. They kept on sending me to the city, to the trucking company, to the county, in a big circle for 2 years. Oh, it's 2 years up, see? Can't do nothing for you. It's like a runaround every time you try to deal with this county with a lot of stuff. But you use your words. That's where I'm frustrated with. I lost a lot of money in that shop. It's not a big shop or nothing like that, but it was my money that come out of my pocket. But they weren't there for it. Use words in 20 minutes. And there's data. There's data. I've got it. I've been to the county office and they're at my door in 20 minutes. I've been to Kidman and complained to somebody down there. They're at my door in 20 minutes. Out of the ag grounds, not here tonight, complained to somebody down there. They're at my door in 20 minutes because they don't like my words. But when I need them at my shop, taking my life away, don't go there, don't go there. They keep telling me, don't go there, we'll look after it. So either you gotta take a gun to your, and they'll be there, or you piss somebody off and they'll be there. Right? So why are we spending that kind of money for policing that's not looking after the pay rates? How many people have their stuff stolen out of their yards? There's thieves all the time coming around, and I'm sorry, I know we got a county officer, he's a bylaw and stuff like this, but we gotta have something done, right? We're paying for RCMP, let's have some service. They're not feelings enforcement, they're law enforcement. That's what they need to learn. And they're there to serve the people, just like the councillors are. I know that the government is telling you guys what to do, but you guys are there to hear what we have to say and put it out there to the government. Hey, we got people that are speaking up. Enough is enough. You know, we're supposed to be free. That's what this country's all about. But you keep on going more and more rules and hoops that you got to jump through to get stuff done. I just want to be left alone. I don't want someone telling me where I can put a fence or plant a tree or anything along that manner on my property. Unless you want to pay for it, I want to do it on one of my property. That's why we come out to the country. We're not in the city where we have no room and we've got to abide by the rules of the whole neighborhood. Yes, farmers are out in the country because they love it out here and they do their job. A lot of people come out here for peace and quiet, try to get away from the city and stuff like that, and want some freedom. And we get more and more restrictions.
Just get to the point here, the last few days, about the price of fuel. I got a text from a neighbor, they stole fuel from him, mile and a half of our place. A lady's car in rear behind, they drilled a hole in the fuel tank. She's going to work. The park got halfway to work, it ran out of gas. So their son-in-law brings fuel at 7 in the morning, 4 a.m. it's coming out, they drilled a hole in the tank. So it's not good.
Where's our money going and why is my question.
Well, we spent 200 grand on extra policing and I didn't see nothing any better.
So what?
But here's the other thing, I'm sorry, I gotta put this in perspective too.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand drunk drivers and stuff like this, okay? Lamont grounds, they had the rodeo out there. 5 cars out there pulling people over constantly, sitting there, quick cash, man, pull them over, get whatever they can out of them. Right? Again, I gave my words to one of the officers, he pulled me over. Wasted his time because I wasn't drinking.
Yeah.
I gave him shit for wasting time. And not only that, he pulled me over in Sherwood Park, saying like, oh, I recognize you. He's from Sherwood Park and he's out in our county pulling people over because they know it's easy money to grab people from there. I get the drunk driver, don't get me wrong, but that is a setup. Cash cow.
So what would happen if you guys didn't pay this policing requisition or whatever it's called? You just didn't pay it.
They'll take it off our.
They'll just take it.
They'll short our STIP program, our money for the government road taxes stuff, they'll short us the 200 grand.
Well, it's time for you guys to start voicing for us, saying, okay, let's get some proper policing out here. not feelings enforcement, law enforcement, and get some real
Yeah.
stuff done.
A lot of the policing is the courts though that are letting them out. The guys robbing you, by the time you do the paperwork, they're robbing you again, right?
They're like, the cops are just like fishermen. They're just
But-
catching
But the facts are, you're there to speak for us, and the more voice that we put out to you, put to them, squeaky wheel gets the grease.
We've been,
So,
You guys keep squeaking on it, you don't do it at all, you're not gonna get nothing.
Corpus Capital, the mall was running with RCMP.
Oh, yes.
There's corruption.
Oh, yeah. All I'm saying is we're paying for it, whether they're for the government or corporations or for the people.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, they're there for the people. Serve the people, and that's what needs to be put across.
So you guys are members of the RMA. You've got a convention next week. So all the rural municipalities are gonna have representation there. I've checked into a lot of rural municipalities through Alberta. We're not the only ones that are getting lambasted with this big cost.
every.
Yeah, yes, I know. So when you're at the RMA, why don't you have the RMA actually do something?
they do. So we're gonna make a resolution. So the letter that I put forward is now supported by 2 of our other neighboring ones, and it's just because we haven't put it out to everybody yet. And then what happens is they make it as a resolution there so that they go with their committees to, right, because they're closer to provincial government people than we are. They have more authority, because they have all of us backing them instead of just us backing, and hopefully Smoky Lake hops on board.
Well, I read the letter. That's the letter that was in today's agenda, Aaron. Is that the one you're talking about? Okay, I read that letter. Whoever wrote it did a fairly good job writing it, but it was a little bit lengthy, but,
They like that.
oh, maybe so. But nowhere there did I see even a hint or a bit of a threat where this county can't afford this in these economic times. So don't be surprised if we don't pay it.
Well, no, but so the way I wrote it, it was written, is so that if you notice, we asked them to take it and try getting it, not us collecting it. Because if we can't collect it, and they say this and this is how much you owe, if they come to us and we don't collect that much because you don't want to pay it, and he doesn't want to pay it, and he doesn't want to pay it, we still pay it as a county. So if we let them collect it themselves, we're not that middleman anymore. They can collect what they can collect off you guys, that's it. Same with education. Because if they do that, then they got us by the short and curlies, because if you can't pay it, they're gonna make everybody else here cover what you couldn't pay. Or if you decide you weren't paying it, they're gonna make him cover what you guys are paying.
Okay, so here's something else then. Is that gonna show up on our tax notices as a line item?
Yeah, no, that one doesn't.
No, not yet. We're probably in the 3rd year of getting that at least.
There's 69 rural municipalities in the province of Alberta, and everybody's paying policing along with the towns, villages.
Yes,
So,
yeah. My question is, does this affect the land taxes for this year first? Does it affect the taxes for this year?
Yeah, it doesn't affect, yeah, it does, because it's on what the provincial is actually. We're setting our budget, and our budget is if we can stay at 2% again, that's where we'd like to stay. But we don't get to tell what they're gonna charge on your land tax. They know what your land base is, they know how much your land is worth.
That is what I'm asking you, Aaron. I am asking you if it's going to show up in the total of the land taxes this year, the police requisition, the cost per police.
Yeah, and it'll be the same as it was last year. In the envelope that you got your tax with, there was that little piece of paper that had the red sign, the blue sign, the yellow sign, and it showed you that education was 11%, this is how much it cost. It showed you housing was this much, this is how much it cost. It was, everybody got one. Everybody got one, because even I got one of my own, and I'm colorblind, and I had to ask the wife, what color does mean?
Okay, so this is actually what my question to you is. The Housing Foundation is a line item on our tax notices. Education is a line item. The landfill is a line item. Those are all requisitions, okay? When we met with you guys about the fire,
Go ahead, sorry.
ready?
Yeah.
When we met with you guys about the firefighting, and we were told it's gonna go on our taxes, but nobody knows how much went on the taxes because you guys were all told in council chambers at a meeting that, oh, the program just won't handle putting in any more line items on the tax notices. So how hard would it have been for somebody to type up, your tax notice for this year includes $123 to fight fires or for firefighting? Same with the police. If you can't put a line item on the tax notice, then just attach a note saying how much we're paying for firefighting, how much we're paying for policing. All we want to do is be able to see what we are paying for. If Mundare, the town of Mundare, can do it as line items, why can't the county? Everybody working there makes over $100,000 a year.
When it comes to the taxes too, whether you guys pay your taxes or not, we have to pay this, like even the oil company, whatever, we pay the school tax, gotta pay everything up front. Whether, if nobody paid tax, half the people pay taxes, we still gotta send 100% of the school tax to the government, then they decide if you're gonna get any back or not. Just you know.
That's fine, but it'd be nice to know where our money's going, how much of it.
Yeah, not just the percentage.
Well,
That's what we
yeah.
had was the percentage. Yeah, but if we can get them to figure out how to do it, I mean, I have computers up there, people can run, we should be able to get it up. So I've got that written down. I got you. Fire, policing, education, housing, and I got to do what's the other one, landfill.
Any more questions, Peter?
Here's one more.
Yeah.
Where that pump station is going, they're gonna be doing the noise study there, right?
Yeah.
So is that new EPL number gonna be a base number for the county? And it's gonna go everywhere? Because right now, the provincial government or whoever industry has a 35 number. If it's lower, say it's at 30 or 28 or whatever it's gonna be, is that gonna be for countywide and we're not using the provincial number anymore?
I can't answer. I don't know that. I can ask questions and find out where I get to.
Because nobody seems to.
Yeah, because it's a concept drawing, so they don't know even what they're gonna have for a pump station, like actual equipment in it or not. It's a concept drawing to show you this is where we plan on going, 562, 157, wherever they're gonna. They're not 74. I mean, they put it right down the middle of the goddamn road. Les, you've been a pipeliner. I've been a pipeliner.
Yeah.
You don't build a pipeline down the middle of the goddamn road.
And that was embarrassing to me in Bruderheim last week when they had, it was brought up by a neighbor that was furious, and I don't blame her, and I knew nothing about it. She came to the yard, thank God she gave me 340 pages of stuff that the councilors never had that they got presented, and they said down the middle of the road. I walk into Bruderheim, and I'm listening to this engineer telling one of the ratepayers that one option is down the middle of the road. I just.
An engineer does this?
Pardon me?
An engineer designed that.
No. This is a preliminary, so that was, concept, so down the middle of the road like they do in the city. And, there's big boulders out by Faulkner's farm the size of Volkswagens. $1 million a mile to build a road, or in the ditch, or down a right of way. A right of way is I'm gonna be wrong a little bit on close, so $39,000 a mile to a right of way in the field. $1 million a mile to build a road. Are you telling me that, why would you even show that to the people? Like, I was embarrassed that, I just couldn't believe the point was there. I freaked and the CEO was mad at me that I was voicing my, and I just come to the people with something that's gonna maybe happen, but come with something stupid, we always do. Oh, it's unbelievable, wasn't the word for it.
There's a prime example of a lot of paper with that.
Well, so I asked today at the meeting, I want to know to the penny what it cost us so far total. What I want, so they're gonna get back to us, to all the councillors, because I want to know to the penny what we spent already, and there's nothing happening yet that I can see.
700 engineers are working on it with almost nothing, but they're keep building.
It's easy to spend the 16 million on engineering and not end up with a building, and that's what I'm getting at. Engineer it, get it built.
He asked,
Yeah.
so we will have some numbers of what is being spent out of that money today.
I couldn't believe they were gonna put it down the middle of the road again, and the one guy, he got all excited, and that's when I listened to what he's saying. And then I gave him, the guy presenting, shit, because $1 million a mile, why would you even show people that?
So do we have any ability to hold that company, engineering company, to be accountable to deliver something that's reasonable, with a reasonable cost?
Yeah.
That's why we're asking.
Engineering companies will do that, they'll melt that for months and give us crap ideas, so we're gonna then waste money and then look for more, right, as they run out.
Well, they at the meeting before, they threw something at us that there might be another option, and I was on the computer for the meeting. I was out of town. I was on the computer, and I said I voted no to it because get it project the government gave us money for, a straw in the river. Do what you're getting paid for, not come up with these ideas and eat up all the money. I said, what's it gonna cost? Well, maybe 10 grand. So if they said 10, you know them, engineers, it'll be 20. It'll be 20. And that's why I said that money isn't made for maybe this, maybe that. It's made for get the drawing, get something that's gonna work. That's.
Well, the CFO and WSP said, when I asked them how much money of the 16 million they spent wasting all this, doing whatever, they said 300,000 roughly is how much they've already spent just getting to on this floor. Yeah. Today.
Well, and that's what I asked for, and it'll be public when they ask for it today.
Yeah, I asked at the meeting, that's what they told me. I don't know whether it's actually 300,000 or if it's actually more than that.
Well, no, when we get it, we'll let you guys know.
I think the last year was 270 something.
So 300 grand.
Or
If it's 270, it's 300 grand. I don't know what they got designed. I want to know what they got designed so far and everything for that. Now, 300 grand. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, these engineering companies want to stretch things out, waste money, get rid of them, get another engineering company.
Well, now even to put a culvert in, it's got to be engineered. So what's the culvert costing? The engineer is probably half. If the culvert is 10 grand, they're probably 5 grand an engineer. I'm guessing. I'm just guessing.
There you go with culverts that are sticking up above the ground.
Yeah, I know. The culvert's got to be a meter wider so the snowplow comes and over. No, now it's you can't blame the operators. You can't. I don't know. I can't see through the snow. I know they can't. So.
No, I'm listening to all this, you guys. Years ago, you guys are elected. You guys have the power to say what's going on. You would tell the CEO what's going on. You tell the other guys what's going on in the division. Now it seems like whoever it is, from wherever he is, totally abolished all that, and you have to report to the main guy. The main guy controls everything.
Mr. Zmenko, I'll tell you something. When I came on here, I made an obligation to people like Mark and the people that were in my area and the rest of the people like you guys that I never got a chance to talk to, that I would do my very best for this county.
Yeah.
I talked to your daughters. I've talked to you about it too. And I tell you what, when these guys got on, you can ask them. I told them, first thing you're gonna do, take your superhero underwear off because they're not worth wearing. I pulled mine up thinking I was gonna change the world. I am so humbled. It is not even, it's disgusting actually trying to sit up here and look people like you guys in the face and know that this is what we're trying to do, but we're so held back that you can't.
It cost me $7,000 for a lawyer. And I paid, somebody said, why did you hear it for the money? I paid the lawyer myself because whatever, cost me $7 grand. We put an ad in the paper, I bought donuts. I'm not here for the money, I'm here for the people. I was born with no money in my pocket. Yeah, I was born with no money in the pocket. I'm gonna die with no money in the pocket. So.
You mind me asking, what transpired off that? If you want to answer.
No, The truth will come out one day, but right now I gotta sit quiet, so, but, yeah.
Question here about how administration works. So in administration, they make a pile of money. I'm guessing, right? No. So my understanding is that consultants are hired to make decisions on certain projects. Should the higher up in administration be able to make those decisions without hiring consultants? They're getting paid enough.
Yeah, but
Should be
so-
common sense thing.
Yeah, and the consultants don't make the decisions. They give us the information to use to make the right decision. And that's the thing is, so like, I can't go and be a CAO because I've never done the schooling. Right? I can't go and run his grader because I've never learned how to run a grader. That CAO that went to the schooling to be a CAO should know what the right decisions are. And obviously, if you've seen how the rest of the province is going, every CAO and everybody that's come into a position is recycled from some other municipality.
And then they bring their buddies.
And the hiring pool is, you gotta get on the ones that first come right out of school. Because they're right up to date with the laws and whatever are going on and policies, but.
Because how come Lamont ends up hiring these guys? Somebody got skidded from Smoky Lake for Lamont.
Because they use headhunters who are their friends, and then they end up hiring.
Next door, this guy's gone. Get somebody that graduated from the university, that took these courses, that knows what's going on. Those are the guys that you interview.
No baggage.
Those are the kids you leave alone.
No baggage, no baggage, no buddies. They bring all their buddies with high pay. And a counselor has no decision. All we do is hire the CEO. You got the CEO, he brings his buddies, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
I don't agree with, I grew up with the whole style of politics. 18 years right around with my dad, and then coming here on over 9 years, and we got all these guys, Gerald and Roy, and it's just
The consultant was hired to look for a fire chief, correct? And that's just be a simple thing to interview somebody for a fire chief. I don't see why that's the money. That's my opinion.
or $11,000 on a survey. That's not surveying culverts or surveying a road, just a survey, like what do people think? You have something like this, and you'll know exactly, you don't need a survey. I know my survey when I get phone calls, and I don't need a survey, right? I know what's happening. Yeah.
Sylvia, your mic is on.
So your mic's on.
Your mic's
You're not.
All of it.
Yeah, good, well,
Let's speak it up.
the people hold the power, you guys.
Yeah.
Your guys' hands are so tied. It's sad. I just worry for you guys. I really do.
Would it help you guys if we went on strike and just didn't pay our taxes at the end of June?
You know what's gonna happen? You're gonna end up with 20% higher because they're gonna add, they're gonna charge us to it, and it's not gonna do anything.
Well, then how the hell do we get across through to administration that we don't like them and we don't want them?
Well, I think you've done
I think you
guys have made that.
Yeah, but it's not solving the problem, though.
They're still here.
Yeah.
Really wants a break with cover.
Is there any way you can trim the back with administration, like, it's, assistant to the assistant to the assistant? Is there anything you guys can do with that?
Yeah, that's our. But really, we have one employee.
Right.
Right, and that employee is supposed to be working in our best interests.
Right, and we know he's not, so there's.
Yeah.
Mr. Boris.
One way that you can trim that is trim his budget. Whatever he can hire has to be within that budget. So, because I don't know how else we can do it.
That council approves the budget, right? So if we've got fat, why don't we just approve less of the budget and make it match? That problem will take care of itself.
Isn't he under contract?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been renewed for another 4 years.
They renewed it early, 11
Yes.
months early?
Yes.
Yeah, conveniently.
Which puts all his staff under contracts as well.
That was gonna be a question of mine. How many staff in the county right now that work on, that are under contract? Not salary or hourly, but contract? And I know it's more than 3.
Yeah, but this is the building.
Yeah.
Neil, while they're looking up questions.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You mentioned, I believe you mentioned.
Yeah.
Not paying the property tax.
Yeah.
What are the rules regarding not paying property taxes, and then the county gets to hold that?
Yeah, so it's three, so on if they're not paid by July 1st, there's 10% added on, and then 20, so there's penalties first. 3 years of no taxes paid, let's say I didn't pay taxes for 3 years, then it goes up for auction, and there's the assessor gives an assessed value of what you got to go for, and the first thing, the taxes are paid off, then the expenses, and then the money goes to whoever owned the property, whatever's left.
Well, they got us all by the ball.
So we had a auction last week. It was in the paper and nobody showed up. I don't think anybody would want to buy this property, but anyways, so looks like we're gonna be having yeah. It was in the St. Michael Hotel come up, so.
Yeah, but then go for auction.
It went for auction, nobody bought it, nobody showed up.
Nobody bought it. Then it goes back to the company.
Get demolished it fast.
Well, that's where we get at it. So now, that's our liability. Now that's coming out of your taxes, my taxes, everything else, to be able to tear that down and haul that over to the dump.
Probably 150 grand.
Because you're never gonna sell a lot for 150 grand and say, Mike, I don't give shits out there.
There's another property there too.
Yeah, but it's, so now we're left with it, so.
Just take a big hole, push it in.
No.
The fire department can do practice on it. Just put a match to it.
I did bring that suggestion.
Yeah, that didn't come up.
I did say, how about a fire drill, practice?
You know, before they were saying, yeah, we got this water line running to St. Michael now, it starts up, heading the water, the whole bit, boy, you could have watched St. Michael go. Now, already when a girl, when you drive into that place and you see this old derelict building with a hotel sitting there, and we're all falling apart. Mattresses leaning up against it. Then you drive down the road, you see another derelict property there, where the guy started building with that rich, with a trailer sitting there. The paint that is scattered over, you know, it's got a big hole there, that's what get me. Nothing is covered, nothing is.
The other one, they're working on that, aren't they?
They're dealing with it under the bylaw with unsightly property. So, that's.
They're dealing with what?
Unsightly property, that one you're talking about, they're, I don't know how.
You know, anybody that drives in there, it's not going to be a big building, you can see stuff. First of all, you gotta do some straight over 184.
Yeah.
Windshields are expensive though. That's a good vehicle.
Lloyd, just to your comment there's that property by your place there that the county owned. And we took it over for taxes. We listed it and nobody bid on it. So say we're gonna list it again, we get a value evaluation from a realtor, say it's 300,000. So if we have taxes and legal expenses for 50,000, we have to send that 250,000 to the landowner that owned it before we took it over. So, and if you don't know, like some of these hamlets, you don't know who the owner is, you have to keep that money in an account for 10 years to see if the legal owner shows up, then you can do something with that money, but it's a 10-year term.
Yeah, so, and then just to answer you over there, actually, I screwed up earlier on, we have 99 employees, 70 of them are firefighters. Just so you know. But you're contracted, you wanted to know?
Yeah.
So actually, ones that work for us that are there, it tells me we have 1, human resources. The rest of them now are or assessments, so that's the ones we bring in, Chris Meadows.
The assessor, yeah.
Yeah, the auditors, because we have, well, that's human resources. That's,
No, human resources and payroll done up.
it's not on here. That's what I'm saying. I was just gonna point out the ones that we don't know. Yeah, because we have janitors. This is our list. This is what they give us. When I requested this, I get you. This is why I'm explaining to you what they gave me. Here's janitor. We have equipment maintenance, which is the fire apparatus. So they gotta do their fire test. They check the gravel truck, like the gravel haulers. Building maintenance. So the guys that if there's a leak in the roof, that's the guys they hire. Legal, that's the lawyers. Engineering for offsite bridges inspection. So that's the guys that are doing the water line. Human resources.
Okay, so, they're like really easy here.
All right.
Your auditor's coming out to do his spiel. Is it the next meeting, I think?
2 weeks.
Okay, whenever he comes. See if you can draw out of him. Or tell him that you guys want the because for the staff that's working under contract, that's not gonna show up under staffing costs. It's gonna show up under contract. And for us to read the audited financial statements, we're not gonna know if that's the culvert contractors or the guy digging the toilet hole or what it is. So just tell the auditor that you want the total amount of the contracted employees pulled out for, just so you guys know. Because I really want to know the true number of what it's costing us for staff in this county.
Yeah, because so when I did look into it, so here's what I've got right. That since I started in 2021, we have had a clean audit. So the auditors come in every time that we've requested it. So for the 5 years I've been in, it's coming for, it'll come in 4 of us have participated. They've said, yeah, we find, and they give us that vow that they gotta say, that the letter of us that says, we have found nothing wrong. But what they do is, they use what numbers they're given. They don't go in and do a forensic audit.
This isn't an
So,
audit. This is okay, give me your, what it cost you guys for popsicles, give me what it cost you guys for culverts. So it's not a true audit.
No, we don't get the ability to do a forensic audit because that would end up costing thousands and thousands of dollars.
This is a serve on top, that's all of it.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question. I've been waiting patiently while you guys ignore me. Don't worry, I'm not gonna bring up my drainage issue because I'm sure we'll be in contact in the next week when this starts melting. Aaron, my question is to you. Why did you want to be REEF?
Because I thought I was gonna make a difference in everybody's life and help people that are here. Like,
Okay.
I want my kids to be here.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good answer. But wait, you're gonna have conflict. You're gonna have to deal with everybody in the county. You're gonna have to do things you don't want to do. So when a ratepayer sets an appointment with you and you don't show up, what kind of kind of precedent does that set?
Okay, Seda, so you called and asked if I would show up. And I said, yeah, I'd do a drive-by.
No,
Because you know
you
what?
said
There's
you'd be
three
at
other
my
people.
house
I said I would
before
stop
4
by if I had the ability to. And I asked these guys, I left the meeting from Riley to come to you and then go to your neighbor that called the same thing down the road. And then go to another person that is just over here trying to build 2 houses on one piece of property. So forgive me if I didn't stop in, but I stopped. I even talked to the councillor in the area and I talked to everybody else and our public works to make sure those culverts were open, the job was taken care of, and I could carry on and your quality of life was gonna change. But because I didn't come and talk to you, and you have to understand something, Sadie, you call all the time about your problem. And at some point in time, I'm gonna let you know that, have you ever heard the story of the little boy who cried wolf?
Yeah.
Yeah. You call a lot about the same issue, and we can't help you when we don't have, we've sunk money into fixing what was supposedly screwed up. I've talked to the people that owned the land before the people that you bought it from, and I've always had an issue. So when the road was changed, and I know you've got the information coming or what's going on, the road was changed. They allowed it for that side of the ditch to be a drainage. It didn't work for you. It didn't work for the county. We actually hired another fella to come in that used to work for the county. The county spent more money to rectify the issue that you have at your place again this year. And you called me before the snow even melted. Nothing is going to flow when the snow doesn't melt
And
yet.
that's the problem, Eric. It had nothing to do with the ditch. That's not even what I wanted to talk to you about. It's what I want to do on the back half of my property to get your opinion and how you think I can approach the situation. But had you have stopped your vehicle like a professional and spoke to the ratepayer and the people who vote to put you there, then you would have just understood that it wasn't the ditch. I even want the ditch that does not flow, that doesn't work. And I'm gonna prove that to you this year with my own money. But the back half is where I wanted to talk to you. I just wanted to show you something and walk you and see what you thought and felt about what I wanted to do there to try and mitigate the flooding that comes to my house. Because yes, I am the low spot. Yes, it needs to reach the ditch. But the water doesn't go anywhere once it hits your ditch. Your ditch doesn't flow, so where would you like me to send this water?
I don't know, but you know what?
Exactly,
You're asking
you
me-
don't
listen,
know.
you're just gonna talk over me and keep talking until, because these why people want to hear the drama. But the thing is do you understand that you are committing, it's not a crime, you're against the bylaws. Mr. Mark here farms. He can't go and take his truck, his equipment, and plow from a water line to a ditch and drain the water out of his field and use a county ditch. Nobody can. But that big hose that you had coming from your pump to come all the way over the berm into that ditch, I am an elected official. If I go and see that, technically I'm supposed to narc on you.
But where's this water supposed to go? It is a natural flow and your own drainage shows it go to the north, which there's no culvert there anymore. The culvert disappeared when you upgraded the road. So if the water can't flow, where does it go? It was just.
So tell me how you think the water can't flow, because the dirt work that was done was dry. There's been no precipitation since then. There's been no thaw since then. So you tell me, because you had a dark spot that was getting wet in your yard. I wish it would never happen for you. But the rest of the area has not thawed. There's been no way that water can go over through snow. And we're not gonna go down the middle and plow the ditch so that your water can go down the middle. Everybody would be asking that.
You're not getting the point, but
No, I'm not.
what I wanted you to stop and see was what I wanted to do to try and mitigate it, to get it to come through slower so it doesn't flood. But you refuse to stop, is my point. Like that's your job. Like that's everybody's job. You're gonna have to face people and speak to people whether you like it or not.
Aaron,
Was there a water problem before this was corrected?
Pardon?
Was there a water problem?
Yeah, I can.
They took out the culvert.
No, I know, but was there a water
Wait,
problem?
right there is the previous owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, all right. It's not an
But that's where I'm getting at. So there's two things I'm getting at is she wants us to do work on it that's costing everybody else to rectify the situation that the previous owners already told us
But
about.
I wanted to do the work
And the
on
thing
it,
is, I
I wanna
wanted you
do
to
the
do
work,
is-
and you wouldn't even stop to talk to me for
No,
me to
because
do
you're
the
asking
work.
me to go against what I was elected for. I'm not allowed to go in there. You're doing exactly what we set bylaws for. You're pumping from your yard into a ditch. If it's a natural flow, it's meant to go. But you can't go and pump and then tell me, oh, don't worry about seeing that. Look at my issue over here. Get these guys to pay for it.
But how can you get it to naturally flow when the ditch doesn't flow? It backfills in. You're not understanding. It backfills the property out of your ditch.
Last fall, we built a new ditch here with the money that's left over for the grant, for the venture for the road. We gotta see what that's gonna do. The guys that did the job, one guy, Wayne, worked for the county for years and years. I got lots of faith in him. They cut the ditch down at least 2.5 feet. We gotta give it a chance, see if it's gonna work or not. The ditch, we had Chris and the grader would push the snow back this time of the year a little more to get the water going, but I sent pictures of how it was done and how it should be done, in my opinion, but we're at where we're at.
You know, there's gonna be problems all over this year because the ditches are filled
Full.
with ice.
Go.
Nothing's gonna float.
Yep, just go to Delp Road. I wanted to load her to the brother-in-law's place. There's snowbanks. I haven't seen snowbanks since I was a kid. They're in the ditch where the water's gonna go. There's gonna be no water going until June. There's so much snow in the ditches.
It's so dry up there, Gail, once the frost comes out of there, that water's gonna disappear, because there was no rain all
Yeah.
summer there.
Yeah, no, I know that, but right now, looking at the ditches, when I'm going with my loader down the road and I can't see over the bank, it's like, as the grader,
There's snow
can-
there, there's gonna be problems.
and it's in the ditch.
With the weather this year.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Kim,
The problem that Salo's talks about, that issue's been there. I own the land around there. That issue's been there since I owned the land. That's gotta be in the mid-nineties that I bought that corner. The rerouting of the water that was done by the owner of that acreage back then is what's caused the problem to be there today. And we try and say it, but it should. Ship will flow up the other. And we tried to force water to go where it shouldn't go. What happens? It just sits there. So the issue that's there is going to stay there and it won't disappear until there's more work that needs to be done. I mean, the ditch that they dug down, yeah, that's gonna help. But you know, that's not gonna go, that water ain't gonna go to the snow. That's gonna be maybe June this year. Now all the culverts are frozen. Forget it. There's nothing that's gonna drain.
Are you guys gonna speak on the
Yeah, they already are. The crew's been out, and the backhoe, they pushed all the snow. Like even that day that I drove by there, that was on a Friday. I drove by, got a hold of the public works, they came with the backhoe, scooped it all out, and I don't know if you haven't been there. The steam crew was in there and steamed to make sure everything was loaded.
But even if steam the culverts and the ditches, what we did clear out, you got 3 or 4 layers of ice already.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a disaster this year.
And
There's no way around
very
it.
well. And now it's frozen, the whole 30 feet of culvert is frozen. It's not an end.
Oh, yeah, because it's flowing
But
and
it's-
it stopped
we-
and it froze.
Where we had to fall all the way at an angle from 560 and an angle all the way to Chip and Gumbo, all the way up to Highway 16, we're gonna have culverts plugged, solid all the way. We had that fall in February, the culverts ran and then it got 20 some below.
But it's just gonna be held up with the ice in the ditches, so it's not to do with that.
The worst thing that could have happened is Public Works sending the graders out, pushing that snow all the way back down the shoulders, because I noticed the culvert in my driveway, there was an eensy beensy bit showing until the last time he went by, about 3 weeks ago. And my culvert is plugged solid. And the water already, if you have a look, Neil, you can see where it now froze as a pool. So there's gonna be issues, you guys, there's gonna be issues. Having that snow pushed back that far was a mistake.
They were getting ready, you know what, the operators, had a hell of a winter. And, they had to put the snow and move it back, because we don't know what we're gonna get another snow and blowing. They're fighting a losing battle is what it is. If we got more snow and wind, I don't know where they're gonna push the snow, so, anyway.
I'm gonna say, I think my grader operators have done a great job with that in front of them this year. Yeah, I personally reached out to thank them, I think they get that appreciation from a lot of ratepayers.
Yeah.
But, they're doing a hell of a job.
Yeah. And how about the neighbors that do driveways? So one neighbor, what did you say? I was there 11 or 12 times this year. And every time I came, we needed to push snow, but the cars are dragging, right? So the grader operator is a little bit of wind. Thank God that wind on Sunday, if we wouldn't have the warm weather on Saturday, with nobody, there would have been nobody here. We had all been sitting at home with snow drifts.
Myron, do you have something you want to talk about?
Yeah. I'm curious as to what might have happened in the last few years concerning your permit issuing for the alcoholic sludge, because it's bitter. It sounds like they don't want to come back to the county of Lamont. So what is going on?
It wasn't so much our permitting, it's the amount of people in the area that are displeased displeased with it, is what I dislike. But we do also have, you know, when somebody does something they're not supposed to do and it causes more issues. We actually have a fella in your area right now that is hauling in a time when they're not supposed to be hauling and dumping on a field that they don't have authorization for. And that's the ones that are creating the issues for everybody else. I've talked to the fellow that does the hauling for the city itself, and he wants us to nail this guy to the board. But it's to catch the guy. They know, they've seen trucks, I've got pictures of it, but it's for when the enforcement gets there, he's already gone. So it's that type of people that are setting it off for everyone.
Yeah, it's got a longer story to it than
Yeah, well, that's
where it's coming from. Their grandfather did. It's not a simple fix. The other ones, the contractor they got now doing the sludge is doing a hell of a job with the roads after. So
yeah. The only thing too is this one here that's kind of causing the issue is they're exiting off of 16 through our county to Beaver County to dump it. So they're utilizing our roads to get to the other county. So
Who's in charge of road distribution?
that would be our public works.
Why public works? What is wrong with our county money?
He's too busy catching bad guys, Brian.
This guy's still on.
the wrong bad guy got it.
Yeah. So
No, he did a fantastic job. He
Yeah.
just wanted to, he initiate a road disagreement. He in there watching what's happening.
Yeah. He still manages it. He still goes out and inspects. It's just they're the ones that are writing the permits, like public works. He still enforces any kind of traffic infractions.
He's hoping to retire, and I'm hoping he's like me and getting memory loss, and he'll forget he's retiring and stay with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Without letting them.
Yeah. Let him resign and he get the
Steph.
Oh, just a second, sorry.
Hang on, sorry, I didn't realize you guys was talking.
So the road bans are on and the town is hauling around on the roads. How does this work?
Road beds are on.
No, last year, you're talking like last year.
Last year.
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did our gravel haul in the winter so that we don't have that issue.
No patching and.
So what are you doing? That's a waste of money, because now you're doing the same job once more. Using the loaders and trucks and whatever.
But we also stopped using the water trucks and the amount of repair that we have to do to go back every time we use those trucks. So the roads are froze right now.
This is summer, regardless. You're not hauling it now, are you?
Yeah, we're graveling in the winter. We do winter graveling, a certain amount of it. And stop our patching, sorry, we do patching.
The piling
Well,
is.
that's what that's for, but obviously it's not, it's for the entire system, if you stockpile. And here the thing is, the waste of money. I was able to do 6 culverts in a day. This one culvert took 6 days plus the local ground. That makes no sense. You have a road just north of Andrew, 4 miles. And close the road. Trucker went through, made such runs.
That road is gonna be, this spring is gonna be a very big problem.
Of course.
It is, yeah.
That's the way
It wasn't, yeah, it wasn't.
And this is the thing with this company, you know, people don't see this because they don't know. And the short thing is, taxes and debt.
Yeah, can't get away.
Taxes, so there's no problem. But my question here is, I have a home, built it years ago, and all of a sudden I get taxed on it. I saw no difference in any kind of repercussions back to me as to what additional services I'm getting. I asked to do some Chinese treatment, or whatever you want to call it. And the girl said, well, we're not doing it. Then I hear they did, but they never called me. So, okay, they kind of pushed me off that. Another year I got the newspaper, and it's $9,000 for 100 some years. I phoned around, and Parkland County, for the same job, it's $350 for the same amount. There is something drastically wrong. I asked the staff, can you get me an itemized statement? Gravel, oil, labor, here, and all, to give me, nobody knows it. I went to the main office, nobody knows it. I tried to get to the CEO, no, you can't get to it. So what I hear from here is you people were elected by us, right? And the CEO was in charge of the entire county. Yes. Okay, so that's the case. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's not.
You guys dealt with him.
That's
Sylvia, your mic's on and it's howling.
this. Do you get any reports on your monthly meetings? From anybody?
We had today, the emergency services gave their quarterly report.
Yeah, you used to have a monthly report. Oh, do you know what it's happened? We know.
We get quarterly, what we've been getting.
You take the guy's word, and that his word is not very good.
Well, I do know we don't get all the information on a lot of stuff.
It's just like I told you, Eric, you guys should be getting a report every month on how much each department has left in their budget. You guys should, every one of you should be getting a check register. Roy, when Debbie Hoffman was the CFO, you guys got check registers. You were able to go through the agenda and see where the checks went, for how much, everything else, right?
Well, we still get it in the Reeves office.
And do you remember Debbie's reports for Public Works? Spent this much
Every
money this
department
month?
had a percentage of the budget.
Yes. Now, you guys get this little colored graph that says nothing. It says nothing. And that's, it starts with your budget. Your budget should be done per department, not as a whole, per department. If Public Works comes in at $16 million, then you guys can say, no, sorry, take it back, cut it by 20%. But because it comes in as a whole, you don't know whether it's for this or that or what else.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Like, I've never seen a budget with them. But when did that change? When Debbie left? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it was changed before I got here. I've never worked with the budget representation.
Yeah.
So just to go back to the stated issue, obviously she's my neighbor. I've talked about this with Jeff, so if you think this is a terrible idea, it's his fault, this is not my idea. But, his idea was, is obviously, when there's a huge snow load in the winter, could you guys not go in there and move out some of that snow, so this is not a big problem?
Where do we move it from?
Like, move out of the ditches.
We could, if we move it into a farmer's field, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, because what happens, like, I don't have the ability to move it into his field, and then he doesn't have the ability to plant his crop because it hasn't thawed quick
No,
enough.
but like, take the snow, move it off. I don't.
Yeah.
Started one area of that, there's a number of areas
That's kind of
over the years.
Yeah.
We'll haul more snow than sit there.
That's what to do, yeah. The ditch is there to take the snow off the road, that's why we have the ditches on the road. And like I said, like maybe 4 spots in there, Division 1, but we'll have the same people that want the
Yeah,
ditches.
no, I get that, I get that.
So the ditches is there, the water will flow eventually, like I said, it does take time. From the time that I was there with the county, that used to be a half a mile of brush along that road. Well, now there's just brush where the yard side is. And that yard, excuse me, I was my voice, but where that brush was, that would not melt almost till June 1st and stuff, and a lot of times and stuff, that water sat in the ditch. So we improved that ditch a number of times before the road was constructed also.
Okay, that was just an idea. I'll let him know. Yeah.
You guys, we got about 5-10 minutes left, so.
That's it, okay.
I got a question here. You know, I've been paying taxes for quite a few years in the county. And up until 2021 or 22, we did have those plastic wall replacements in the front office there. How long are they gonna stay up there? Can't you guys get rid of them?
That was put up for COVID.
It annoys me.
Oh,
They can come down.
Well,
Every
it
time
wasn't
I go
just
in
the
there,
COVID.
let's go to the hospital afterwards to get calmed down, eh?
Yeah.
So please remove them.
Have you been in there lately? Because now there's walls there. I just won't, I come flying out of the call from my doctor, and I come whipping around the corner, and there was a new wall there, so.
So there's no more plastic. It's a
No,
wall.
it's there, the wall is there, all the plastic's there.
Can you get rid of that?
Pardon me?
Can you get rid of that just with bars?
Yeah, one of the reasons was because we've had two ratepayers that have said they were coming back with firearms. I mean,
Those walls aren't gonna protect that.
no, that blast is, it's gonna kind of. It's like we can't.
It's a waste of money, that's a big shame.
Yeah.
So it's a slap in the face for a retailer to come in. Get back to paying taxes. 1961, I paid my first tax. Two people, this university, Miss Gordon.
Yeah.
She was out of school, he was secretary. Now we've got all these employees, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I asked her one time, I said, so what are you doing? Just a shopping online. There you go. Fire.
There was a school board and ag services, there were four ladies there, Mrs. Dipchuk, Mrs. Wojcik, Mrs. Litland, and there's one other lady, I'll think of her name, and then we had Leshke was the secretary treasurer, and then we had Ag Fieldman, Walter Skitsko, and that is the whole county staff. The payrolls were done, no computers, they were done, everything was done. We had the school board, we had everything, the payrolls, everything was done, the taxes, the whole works. Now, somebody added up 37 people in there, so it's,
Way too much.
pardon me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Insurance comes back.
Yeah, I like it.
So I have a question about, okay, so this is basically our open house, but we have copies of the counselor in your division.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be only just the counselor from the division? To me, that's the way I would prefer.
Sorry,
I can stay home.
no, sorry, no.
Just like if you're having one in Division 2.
Yeah.
I don't think we need all the other counselors there. I
No.
wanna put my concern to you, and
Yeah.
I know that you're taking my concerns to everybody else.
Yeah.
This way, as an open house, you could just
say, well, I don't want to listen to him, but everybody else up here, what I have to say.
Yeah, no, and
I
that was.
want to know that you're taking my
If,
information.
if that's the way you guys want it, because I know like even at ours, he said, why was the read there even before? And I mean, if you want just your counselors, or if you want 2 counselors only kind of thing, just so that one's getting it and the other one's making sure they've got it correct, it's up to you guys, however many you want.
I just thought it would be better, because concentrate on just that division basically, a little bit.
Yeah, we go,
last year was our first kick at that cap.
I went to, quite a few, because I do care about the whole county. My division is my division, but, I do care about the whole county.
Yeah, but concentrate more so on that division.
Yeah.
What's happening there, and question you, on what you see in that division, and what's going on.
Some guys don't want to talk to their counselor, they'd sooner talk to another one.
I think people would open up more one-on-one to one counselor.
That's what it was meant to be. That's the way we were trying to make it. It's so that you're having coffee. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
We're
just
right
sit
there.
down and have a little chat.
Yeah.
Or less ask questions about the upward industrial heartland or something that Reeve gets more meetings, he knows more stuff about some of that.
Well, then you could have the open house for, a lot of good things up in the whole county. Just like this. Well, no. See, my thing is, he waited to the end. If Aaron is having a thing, it should be just Aaron. Because then, if he's not gonna take my concerns to everybody else, I'm not gonna vote for it the next time. This is my point. Well, yeah, but I wanna know that he's working for me. With everybody there, he might not be working for me, but everybody else will hear my concerns.
Hang on, we got he's got his hand, he's waiting the whole time.
We suggest we have another next month, another open house like this, private with you guys. Is that fair, or do you want?
Well, how do you guys feel about it? What do you guys want? That's really what it comes down to.
Short notice, we have a couple of days, to maybe next one, we have the next month, would be better, I don't know.
Well, see, we wanted this one with all the counselors here and no advantage stuff, but then they wanted coffee talks, and right off the bat, I got undied from people, so I wanted this right off. I've been asking this for quite a few years, but they coffee talks after, so
I appreciate this format. It's good to be able to have your guys' attention without the distraction of other staff and other people. So thank you for putting this on and giving us the opportunity.
well, have you noticed I'm not scared to say it in front of the administration, because I don't hide nothing, right?
Well, but that's, we don't get some skewed input, it's nice to have that.
This is the
With
real.
our elected.
This is absolutely the real.
Okay, it was Sylvia, then Peter, then Brian.
Have we figured out who's the beat on this?
No,
Not a clue.
no, we're working on it.
Who's what?
Sabine done as another.
It's a Facebook,
page.
person on Facebook, some widow from Edmonton, and she criticizes counselors, started with counselors. I'm getting picked on quite a bit, but I really don't care. I didn't come here to make friends. So it doesn't bother me. I don't have Facebook, but then we got it boiled down to thinking we know who it is, so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we know who it is. It's not a lady, I'm pretty sure.
It's getting eliminated or.
Yeah. Yeah, with the investigation that I got buddies that do computers, we found other stuff that we're working on too, so. Anyway, Peter.
So I want to thank you guys for all this. Very good. But when you say individual ones, I went to there, the first one, I went there, that's the only person there. And everybody was.
Well, and like I said, last year was our first go around, even in Chipman, I think George and I sat that coffee because there was nobody else around in Chipman. The second one, I had 30 some people, so it took a little bit for it to get around.
Yeah, encourage everybody to keep coming to the.
Or that phone, my phone number is out there too, you guys. Don't be scared to phone. When I go to bed, I shut the ringer off. When I wake up, it's on. The guy phoned me at 2 in the morning and I answered the phone. He said, what are you, I said, well, I'm up. I turned the ringer on. He was working and he went to leave a message at 2 in the morning. And I answered the phone. He was surprised, but I was awake, watching TV, worried the grain prices dropped. Couldn't sleep.
Right.
Personally, I have no problem with all council making these coffee talks. But I do have a problem with administration following along the coffee talk.
Yeah, we can definitely make that happen. We made it happen here.
We made it happen here, right?
Yeah, I
So-
can't get out of my mind. At Neil's Coffee Shop, how the CAO spoke to one of the nicest
Yeah.
women in this county.
Yeah.
It was absolutely disgusting, and yet all council sat there and didn't even ask him to apologize.
I think we were in shock for what he said to her, the people weren't there, she couldn't hear and asked him to speak up, and he says, perhaps maybe you should sit a little closer. It took me off guard, I know Sylvia, I wasn't prepared for it, nobody was, we were all sitting there just, what just happened?
Yeah, but I told the Duke, and him, the guy.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys move closer?
Yeah.
And then you see looks to kill, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah. So, the husband would have been 10 years younger, it would have been a different meeting, but anyway.
Right.
Okay, Brian, sorry.
You guys are having a municipal bylaws meeting coming up?
It's for a public hearing, coming up next, we're having it in the evening, so you guys can check other.
Yeah.
Secondary dwelling, so if you got a house in your farm acreage, you wanna build another one, the way it was, the way the bylaw was made now, you had to, demolish the first one and then build a second one, so you couldn't live. So now we're changing to have, you can live in the other house and build a new one, and then somebody can live in that house. It's,
Good, because looking at the zoning nowadays,
Yeah.
going on for the past few years.
Yeah.
See, the son or son-in-law or daughter wants to take over and help that out, take over the farm eventually, that mom are living in that house. Now, why should the younger ones that want to take over the farm be living in down or any people are having to buy houses down, where you can build a house right there in the same.
Well, that's exactly the point that we're trying to get
Exactly,
at.
and that's what we need here, because the
Yeah.
price of everything nowadays, to build a house, you're looking at $600,000 better.
so when the new bylaw went through, land use bylaw, and somehow that got changed, that we didn't catch it, and, a person
Oh,
got.
come on. There were lots of us that brought that to your attention about the second dwelling. And you guys just sat back and did nothing. And then to top it off, we were never notified of what you guys took and actually used from what you heard from the ratepayers at that time. I knew that you guys heard the one about you'll only be allowed to rebuild if it's been destroyed by an act of God, but we didn't know anymore.
Yeah, that part was in the heartland, the destroyed act of God. I gotta eat crow, so anyways, but it's so you can live in a dwelling, so we're changing. Anything else you guys find in that land use, but,
And that bylaw, you should do in there, what it changes, not only for building another one, the parents are living in that house, the son or daughter or son-in-law, they can build another brand new house on that property, fully developed house, the basement and all.
Yeah.
Everything is there.
That's what we're aiming for.
Your water's there, everything is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That should be included in there, that should be a standing rule.
That's what we're changing
Well, that's
it
what we're
to.
aiming for.
So the only thing that is the drawback on that, I love being a devil's advocate.
What?
I said I love being a devil's advocate. So here's what happens. So we've had this happen before. So you're living in the house and one of your daughters has decided her and her husband are gonna build right in your yard and they're gonna live there with you. Then what happens is, Ryan, you're out on that road and a rock chip gets you and you're going. Now your other daughter wants that house that you're living in because they're left to the will. Then they just start fighting between each other. They can't subdivide them between each other, so they have to sell everything that you left there now has to be sold to be able to pay for their fight between each other. Because if they don't have the right setbacks, and if they did the same as what other people in the area have done, where your sewer's tied into their sewer, it's all the same sewer, now you have a legal matter, a civil matter, because they allowed you to build two houses. So the thing is in this bylaw that you'll see brought forward, is you're gonna have setbacks. So like the city of Edmonton they're not even close. You're buying that.
And their setbacks is because they have building codes that say you have to have fire barrier wall, you have to have all this for your house to be a foot apart where you can lick your neighbor in case it catches fire. However, they don't care that if you're related to the guy beside, you don't share anything with them. That house is their property, that your house is your property. But when you build out on a farm or on a piece of land, when you build it on there, our stipulations are different. We don't tell you that you have to build it with fire walls, and we don't tell you, it's not even us, it's the inspections groups that tell you all this, set the precedence for it. But what happens is we're trying to make sure that in the end of it, if, when you pass, your daughters decide they're not keeping it, one wants to keep it, one doesn't, they have to either buy each other out, or the whole place has to be sold, because you can't subdivide that piece. That's the only conflict that we're trying to get a resolution from.
Exactly.
And that's what we weren't presented when they gave us that information before in the land use. We didn't get that information. We didn't know that you had to have setbacks, and we didn't know that kind of stuff. So we didn't technically get enough information. So.
Well, that's, it's a 100% total agreement that you're allowed to build 2 dwellings on your yard, and that should be a standing bylaw. Irregardless, if one passes away, the other one is going to be fighting the one, that's their problem, that's internal, that's theirs. They can buy each other's out. Be allowed to build 2 dwellings on your.
Yeah, that's what we're working on. We got an open house. So,
Yeah, we
it'll
will
be,
have one.
it'll all be on, internet.
So, are you guys just looking at that, like, in the county, or is this going to include the Heartland?
What's that?
Oh, it's the whole county. It's the whole county.
Well, no, what the heartland is, the heartland's still got the heartland rules.
And it doesn't matter, so you know that. Your neighbor right up the road from you has got 3 houses on one piece of property. So they go to the land and tribunal, and we're overruled anyway.
Actually, that did happen twice, because the one that I mentioned, and now you mentioned it, there's another. So, yeah, twice we got overruled by the government, so.
So this bylaws you get down, municipal bylaws ruling this, don't mean nothing.
Well, then what it does is it allows us to control the amount of setbacks, so that if there is, realistically, it's making sure that if something does happen later on down the line, we can let them subdivide off one of those houses and keep the rest of the land. If say one daughter wants to farm, and the other one just wanted the money from the house, because she lives somewhere else, she can have that money from that house. It can be subdivided off, and the other one can still keep viable farm.
Well, and you need a separate sewer system, so there's enough separation where you can do a 3 or 5 acre subdivision, and that's so much better because that parcel would be sold by itself. Peter.
We just have the same kind of question, that you're having that public meeting on this land use bylaw. So in May of 2025, you also changed the land use bylaw to allow administration to change our neighbors from ag land to heavy industry, but yet there was no public hearing on it, no proper zone, or nothing.
What year did that happen?
Last year, May
25.
We presented everything, my life taxes, all those little things. But yet it went through and nobody, I don't think anybody knew that it was in the bylaw. We never knew. We just happened to, and they never even said anything in the paper. It's just that my wife decided to look into to see what all they were changing, and then that's been always unhappy for us. It changes north, okay, I think we go back, northwest, southwest 957 going west, fourth from ag to heavy.
That's when we're laid on yard was, right?
No, that's where their main site is. It's ag.
It was ag.
And their files are also an ag industrial, and it's part of the whole system.
So don't forget, you guys, there's another 100 cups of coffee around the corner, and you gotta help me with the donuts. If I bring those back, my wife's gonna kill me because she said I'm overbuying, but anyway, nobody run away. Go ahead, Lloyd.
Okay, I think we'll see your person on the table, Roy.
Yeah.
So Roy, we talked about this for years expecting on your accounts payable any compensation for all the well or companies like Sequoia Resources that went bankrupt? Is this still in the books? Are you expecting it?
A lot of that was written off. So over the years, we've paid the school tax on those properties that we never got taxes paid. So the province came up with a program. They will refund or give you a credit on the school tax on those Sequoia sites. But when you do that, you sign off on that. Someone should, by a miracle, buy those properties. You can't go against them, but at least you get your school tax back.
Why don't you get the actual land tax back, because it's private ownership?
So on those wells and that, we gotta pay the school tax, all the requisitions are paid to the government, whether the well company paid us or not. So we had money for 3 years that we got, they credited us. So instead of $3 million next year's school tax, they took off whatever it was, our government took it off, right? So.
You get the land rent if you apply for it, why can't you get it?
Not everybody's getting a land rent. These guys are filling out the forms.
We even had a delegation that came in because he couldn't even get the weeds taken care of. So we gave him a personal weed notice.
Well, some of us are getting it.
Yeah, well, you're lucky because
You're the landowner.
yeah. But
I've got money for, it's behind 6 years, and they paid it all in one shot for 6 years.
but there's not very many, a lot of people are getting rejected on it. So yeah.
I think that I can get you the actual number, but I think the total in all of Alberta is $14.7 billion that the government is owed on taxes from oil and gas. And like RMA, that Carol Westerland is her name. She's the president of the RMA. She's a huge advocate for trying to get money paid back, but without provincial help or federal help, they're never gonna. They gave them a tax-free break for 3 years.
After guys weren't paying, then if there was a new well, they got a tax break for 3 years. So again, we put up with road abuse and everything else, and never got a penny for it for 3 years. So. All right.
If we don't.
Julie.
Everybody's saying where we're gonna have the next meeting. See, mostly it's people are from this area.
Yeah, well, they were gonna have, yeah, okay. Gotcha. I said all over the county and, the guys north of Andrew, I'm gonna phone them and see where they are, if they're still coming. But I'll wait till 2 in the morning, Julie, and I'll phone them. Where are you?
But yeah, no, we can do this in Monday next time if you want, or we could ship it. Andrew. Yeah, oh yeah, no.
They always used to have an annual meeting and they had to, I remember as a kid, the councilors had to explain where the money was going and everything else, right? So I've been pushing that right from when I got on council. An annual meeting just like this, and I got nothing to hide, right? So. Pardon me? Yeah, that, I was a little overtaken. There was nothing in the paper. I was a little, more than overtaken, so.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah. So who runs with the, who runs it in the paper there and doesn't put it into the paper?
Well, it'll be in administration.
Administration, yeah.
Okay, get those guys out of there and get one of you guys delegated to do that.
But administration has a communications guy, so people hit in.
Yeah.
Well, it was technically there, just wasn't what we were after.
Big as bold as what we wanted.
I wanted to brighten George's day with my picture in the paper, so I sent to all the council. Somebody said I'm the only one without hair on my face. I'll find that text, but
I'd be ugly.
yeah, they said you're the only one not hiding anything. You're the only one without hair in your face. So I go out and Roy, he had a beard, but he doesn't have a mustache. So the guy was right. So anyway, you guys, there's more coffee around the corner plugged in. Visit a little bit. Feel free to phone.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank all you guys for coming. Yeah. Everybody, have a little visit, dig in.